This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right. This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right.
Mic check, 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 check. Good afternoon and welcome back here to Watergrasshill, Kart World and Adventure Park. We're getting ready here for round 3 of the Irish Drift Series 2025, proudly brought to you by Red Bull and Lucky Day competition. Today we're kicking off with the Pro2 Championship with a lot of drivers out there practicing and getting ready over this morning and yesterday. The conditions have been kind of mixed, getting things get set. Everyone's just kind of settling into their own cars. We have a few new drivers on the grid as well this weekend, so we have a lot of people up there. My own name's Adam Driver. I'm joined here by the one and only Mike Fitz. Mike, introduce yourself.
Mike Fitz. How are you, Adam? Thanks very much. Yeah, like you said, Adam, there touched on it. Very, very mixed conditions, very challenging. As a driver myself, I know how headachy it is to try to get the line, get your car set up for these kind of conditions. It's super sketchy out there. It's wet, it's dry. If it was one or the other, as we always say, it's easy. Well, not easy, but it's easier. But with these conditions we're having, you could have a shower. Next thing, the sun is out, track dries. So it's going to be a huge challenge for the drivers. The poor old Pro2 drivers have had a baptism of fire this year. It's been like this for every round pretty much. And, you know, I was thinking about it actually driving up this morning. that's a good thing for them. It'll bring them on. It'll make them the better driver for it, as difficult as it is. But if you can deal with these conditions, you can deal with anything, you know. So looking forward to seeing how they deal with it. And I always think, you know, in a championship, in a short championship, especially, round 2 is actually the hump day round, not round 3, which is the middle round in the centre of the championship. But I think always round 2 is it's the one that's in a little bit of no man's land. You're not really seeing where the championship is going so much yet, but at the end of round 2 you're getting a little bit of a look at where things are going. And I'm looking forward to this one all, because this is where, again, the future stars of tomorrow will really come through and make their mark on the top of the championship. And as always, guys, of course, we have 3 championships running concurrently. We have Pro2 Junior, which is 13 to 16 years of age, Pro2 Rookie, which is for first time competitors who have never competed in IDS before, or drivers who have never qualified for a twin battle before. So say a driver has competed all last year and they never managed to qualify for a twin battle, they're still allowed to compete in the Pro2 rookie class. And then we have Pro2 outright for the people who are neither 13 to 16 or it's not their first year, so basically Pro2 outright. And of course Pro2 rookie and junior are based on qualifying results alone, and Pro2 rookie then, or Pro2 outright, is based on their qualifying result and the battles.
Absolutely, Mike. As you said, this is the betting for the future stars of Irish drifting, and we're just about to get straight into it with Ronan McGrath warming up his tyres on the grid line, as we can see here. Just getting ready to kickstart qualifying of round 3 of the 2025 series.
Absolutely. So we have 10 clipping points on this Watergrasshill track here down at Kart World. Always a very technical track. It's a go-kart track, but it's a big one, and especially that first corner, the judges are going to be looking for a big flick entry in that first corner. And keep an eye on that on clipping point 2. Number 1 is on the left as you enter, and number 2 is a late apex on the corners, not the centre of the corner. And a lot of the Pro2 drivers often struggle to get that one. It's a late apex. So let's see what Ronan McGrath can do as he leaves the line here in the BMW with lots of horsepower.
Ronan McGrath kick-starting our qualifying runs here as he gives a big initiation to outer zone 1 and coming down the hill here in Watergrasshill.
And just as I said there, Ronan apexing a little bit too early there and then pushed him away from clipping zone 2, so nice segue there into that one. So Ronan demonstrating how difficult it can be. Outside line here now around 4 and 5, now full throttle and a big flick back now onto the outside line here as he picks up that clipping point nicely there, feathers the throttle in the BMW. Not a bad first run here from Ronan. Once again, did leave that clipping point at the start, but overall, pretty tidy run there from Ronan. He should be happy with that.
Absolutely, Mike, as I can say. There for zone 2, the inner zone, he did look a bit too deep into the outer side of the track, but just around for the rest of the track made it work for himself. We can see a bit of tyre smoke on the track now. This morning for the practice, it was kind of starting to lash down the rain, but things kind of changed around now and it's dry again. The scores came in, and the score in for Ronan McGrath is...
It's just a 29, yeah. So 29 for Ronan McGrath, leaving lots of points on the board there. 29 has just come up on our live stream here as we move it along to James Mahoney in the very interesting BMW here, Adam.
Absolutely, James Mahoney in his E39 BMW, if I'm correct saying.
E34, I would say even.
My
yeah.
apologies. A good friend of mine.
You're not old enough to have seen that one in action in reality. So.
Absolutely, a good friend of mine. He said to say it's a 325 or a 2.5 engine, but it's not. It is a V8 as he pushed that car on track. He's had some issues over the weekend, but he's getting it going a bit too wide. Unfortunately, a spin for Jimmy O'Mahony here as he came out was on 2. Looks like he's kind of stuck in the gravel there, Mike.
Yeah, that's going to need a couple of Jeeps there. Those are a big car, the big All 5 series. So she's definitely one of the heavier cars on the grid. So this is going to need some recovery here. Just getting it wrong there on the clipping zone 2, and I'm not sure how much of this comes through in the live stream, but there is a huge elevation drop off after clipping zone 1. It feels like you're falling off the end of the earth essentially there on the just after the initiation point, and the car does actually lose a lot of traction in the rear as it drops down towards zone 2 there. So it is a track, as I said, it's not the biggest track in Ireland, but it is possibly the most technical track in Ireland. Now the drivers are still initiating, the pro cars especially are probably initiating at 75-80 miles an hour tomorrow, thereabouts for the faster cars. It's still not slow by any means, but yeah, it is very technical, and it requires its own driving style. Gearing as well is essential here. Your gearing has to be absolutely spot on. You can't be over revving the car, and you can't be stuck in the mid-range either. there's often a case for quite a lot of gear changes on this track unless you have it spot on, and even at that you're going to be working the engine very, very hard here in Watergrasshill. So very technical track. As was that John Shanahan I saw there in that's Jack's Jeep, I would say, yeah, the beautiful Hilux.
The locals coming out to help again this weekend, Mike, so they are here in Watergrasshill.
Yeah, John will not spare any time getting this car out. He'd be a good man on this job now with John Shanahan.
Absolutely, we can see here on the live stream just being dragged out. Don't worry about it, he'll be back out for his second run of qualifying, hopefully for Jimmy O'Mahony. That will be a 0 on the board for him. As you said, Mike, there's a lot of speeds you come into the first initiation point here in Watergrass before you go down that hill, and then we come into a lot more of hairpin style corners, so there's such a massive difference in the speed you got to do coming around the track here, especially with conditions changing throughout all the day. That is really trying to mix up for the drivers. They just had practice there, it was a bit wet, so they're not knowing exactly what way it is now, apart from what they're getting to see here for the drivers. But either way, we're moving on to our next driver on the line, and it is Mark Ryan in his BMW getting ready for his first qualifying run of the Pro2 Championship here.
Yes, indeed, and I was looking down through the, as we were getting our qualifying notes in order there, Adam, which we have totally abandoned outside. We're standing inside here, obviously, with the screen to see this one, and we can see the cars passing us as well, just out the window here. But I was just looking at the qualifying grid here, and there's lots of new drivers or maybe old names who have jumped back in for this round in Watergrasshill. It's a very beloved round among the drivers, to be fair. And you know, we have a lot of returning drivers, or drivers who are actually out for the first time this season returning, and a couple of people who have done round 1 and 2 have dropped out as well. So I think this round is going to be a big championship shake-up round, to be honest.
Absolutely, Mike, as you said, there is a lot of new drivers coming in here, and some old familiar faces as well, making their way back into the championship. So there's a lot to really throw a spanner into the works for these drivers. As we can see here, Mark Ryan shaping up in his E36 Compact, getting ready for his first run. I've seen his car out for practice both yesterday and today getting ready, but he's just getting started here, Mike. He's coming down the straight here in Watergrasshill and getting ready for a big initiation before he comes into his first qualifying run.
Yeah, seemed to hesitate there a little bit. I'm not sure if I heard a little bit of a misfire there in Mark Ryan's Compact. A very accomplished driver is Mark. Oh, and just overcooks it, drops 2 wheels. The judges will be deducting hugely. Yeah, and shuts it down. Not sure if it was just a funny noise, kind of a wastegating noise from that car, or was it a misfire? It didn't sound perfect there, and he shuts it down.
I agree, Mike, as we are inside the doors here, we kind of sounded a bit muffled through the doors, but I'm not too sure what was going on there. I don't know if it was a mechanical issue or what was going on, if it just changed conditions or really threw spanner into the works for him, but unfortunately that will be a 0 on his first run. Yeah,
that's a 0 unfortunately there for Mark. And of course, guys, 2 qualifying runs, as we always say, it's always the hardcores tend to watch the Pro2 event. No need to explain things too intricately, but 2 qualifying runs, non-consecutive. Of course, driver does his first run, waits till it comes back around for his second run, and goes again then. So it is possible for Mark Ryan to get out and get. This guy's driving better than me at this stage, Adam. Does a lot of practice days at 360 Motorsports Park in Kerry. Decides to bring the BMW out for competition today, and let's see how Dave Richards, the Kerry man, can do.
Absolutely, Mike, one of the most consistent drivers that I know, especially down 360 with all the practice he does in his E46. He's not pushing too much power. He's only got about 220 brakes for what he's told me, but he's making it all work for him here in Watergrasshill.
Oh, he's ran wide.
A bit too deep. It drops a tyre there into the gravel, Mike.
Yeah, Dave, I met him in the pits on the way down. I had a good chat with a lot of drivers. Dave was one of them. He said he got very little practice today. One of the cars dumped a lot of oil on the track, and you could see him struggling now slightly with the conditions here. He was here yesterday practicing in the dry, so he should have a setup. He said he was going well yesterday in the dry, but leaving a couple of clipping points on the track. Not a terrible lap by Dave, but definitely not a huge score. And with a grid of, I think we've got about 70-75 drivers today, Adam, you're going to have to put in a really good lap to be in that top 32.
Absolutely, Mike, and is it only his first time ever competing, so he's trying to put a score down on the board for himself, and he has done that. It's a 62 for David Richards on his first qualifying run ever in the Irish Drift Series.
A Pro2 rookie, so that will get Dave a score within his own championship with the rookies. Of course, the juniors and the rookies, should they qualify in the top 32, can compete in the Pro2 top 32 battles outright in the Pro2 Championship. Now we move it along to a Pro2 driver. It's Stefan Wills in the beautifully coloured 180SX, flicks it left, flicks it back right. Nice initiation there, takes the car very, very wide, but once again apex is a little bit early. Came away from that corner just a little bit before outer or inner zone 2 there, sorry, and will leave a couple of points on the board. Not a perfect line here from Stefan either, but you know, not a terrible lap either. Adam.
Absolutely, Mike, I agree. As he comes around here, coming up to the second, or if not third, hairpin, and a wall right there just before across the line. Just drops the tyre into the grass, a bit too shallow going around that area there, but he crosses the line, puts a bit of a score on the board for himself, Mike. It was tidy enough towards the start, but towards the end, I'm not too sure it'll be enough to get him into battles in later stages today.
A bit of a score on the board is right, Adam. Yeah, it won't be a huge score there for Stefan. Sacrificed a few clips, and yeah, 50.3. The judges not feeling very charitable today, that's for sure. As we move it along to the man in the Nolan transport. Beautiful Sylvia. It is Sam Nolan. All the Nolan lads very entertaining. Full commitment on every single corner that they enter. So let's see here what Sam can do in the beautiful S15.
Absolutely, Mike, a beautiful S15, so it is. Does look a bit too shallow as he comes around that first bend here in Watergrasshill, going down the hill, but creating loads of smoke on that transition now in the back straight. And a lovely line here, Mike, as he comes in. Oh, unfortunately, just a bit too shallow. Wasn't as great as the Todd seen here on the stream, but he's coming up around the track.
Yeah, well, you know, Adam, I just wonder, is the drying conditions after catching out a couple of drivers, because I don't know, they're looking like they're running a little bit too much grip out there for me. They're coming away early on the first hairpin there. Maybe their muscle memory is dialed into the wet conditions, and it's catching a lot of drivers out. So Sam Nolan with a 52. As we move along to our first female competitor, a girl who's been around the pits with a long time now. A huge drift fan, goes to every event, and she has absolutely put in the work and made it onto the grid herself.
Absolutely, Mike. She's a great strong team around her with her father Pat, who's well known down in 360 and along with every other track day that they appear to, helping out everyone else around the place. They put a lot in time and effort into this car, and she's very passionate about drifting herself.
Yep.
And she really wants to put a score out there. It's her first time ever competing, so she's coming out here in her standard 2.5 BMW, initiating for her first run of qualifying. Bit late, bit straight on the initiation there, Mike. She's kind of got the right line here. Unfortunately, a bit too deep, and does look she's dropping into the gravel a small bit.
Yeah,
down, Mike.
Yeah, but full commitment there from Saoirse Lee Barrett. Can't fault her for commitment there in the first corner. That's for sure. That's what we want to see. And transition, you can hear maybe the lack of power there. Catch your old, she clutch kicked it at the right time there, but maybe just not enough legs in the BMW once again for the drying conditions. You know, guys, it's so hard to set the car up for these conditions. The drivers will be in the pits. They'll have dropped the tyre pressure. They'll have dropped the shocks down in the rear. Some drivers might even change toe angle depending on the conditions. Saoirse Lee Barrett gets a round of applause for the crowd there. And let's see what the judges give her as her score, as we wait for her score to drop in. And it's a 0 for Saoirse Lee Barrett, unfortunately. So no score on the board there. Loss of drift. So a 0 for Saoirse, but she will have a second bite at the cherry there, and she's a Pro2 rookie driver, of course, so she will once again be within her own championship with qualifying.
Absolutely, my conversation we've had many a time that lower powered cars are really praying for the rain these days to try and match up with the higher powered cars. As we can see here, Peter Rouse getting set up in his beautiful Sylvia. Does look like a lot of correction there in his first go around the track, Mike. Yeah,
not a perfect initiation. He flicked it left and seemed to have to hang it on angle there a little bit too long, and it's caught him out in the first corner. Peter Ross, very, very experienced competitor, and sounds like a very responsive engine setup in that car as well. But as you say, Adam, a lot of corrections here, just a little bit of wavering. Definitely has the power for the track here. He's not suffering from the lack of wheel speed here, or the inability to get out to the outer zones, and has a good finish now from Peter Rouse. So locks him up there and crosses the line. Peter Rouse, our Pro2 driver, scoring as it drops in the live stream.
His score is in, Mike, and it's a 51 for Peter Rouse. That might not be enough to get him into the battle stages. I presume not, Mike, because we will be sure to see some scores in the 80s and 90s as the day goes out. To some very talented drivers up there. Either way, we're going on to our next driver lined up on the grid here.
Yeah, it's just 240 brake horsepower here in the hands of Sean Bainbridge from Drumshanbo and County Leitrim. The courier driver, once again, if your package went missing up around there, blame this guy. It was probably him. But let's see what he can do now with 240 brake horsepower. Nice flick entry there. Doesn't go for the big flick. Just says, okay, I'm just going to initiate in one direction, with side skirt flapping there in the breeze. And you know what? 240 brake horsepower. And I was just going to say he's making it work with a big straighten there before clipping zone 6.
Absolutely, Mike. Something I saw in briefing this morning. The judges were our head judge Kieran Hines was mentioning to the drivers about how important it is to get a strong initiation on this track, especially when you're coming into that second zone. You really want to have the line dialed in right, otherwise it's going to be a long stretch down to the further clipping zones.
Yeah, well, all of Kieran Hines' tracks, one corner feeds into the next, That's the way he designed them. That's the only way that they work, to be honest. And if you mess up on the first one, you're in trouble for the rest, especially here in Watergrasshill. And Sean Bainbridge, the rookie driver, just scores a 14.3, so he'll need to improve in the next one. Next up is a guy who will not be caught for power either. It is young Clark Hatton from just above Belfast in Northern Ireland, and once again a fantastic prospect for the future. Says that he's going to do a Pro 2 rookie season here, or a Pro 2 season, sorry. Just shake down the car, get everything dialed in, and see how he gets on, and going to take the step up next year. So using it as a tester season as such, Clark Hatton locks up the front right on the way in there using left foot brake, possibly, or just using a lot of foot brake, I would say, and tiny bit of a correction there on clipping zone 4, but nothing too severe. Generally on the right line here. Not a bad lap at all, Adam.
Absolutely, Mike, 'cause I can see him coming in here into his second half, his first qualifying one. Definitely on the right lines. We can see here as he comes up for the first wall run of the track. Does it quite well, Mike, as he comes around to come for the finish line of that. Not a bad run at all, Mike. Definitely something to be proud of, and it's definitely going to get a score on the board for himself. Maybe even qualify or top what is there at the moment, but will it be enough to get into battle stages later on today?
It's going to be tight because it's a 65.7, and we know how high the scoring can get here in Pro 2. So Clark Hatton with a score on the board, but will definitely need to improve, I would say, if he's going to be safe for battle action. As we move it along to Jason Gallagher, I was speaking with him in the pits as well. He was another driver complaining. Actually, to be honest, every driver I spoke with in the pits was complaining. Nothing was right, everything was wrong with everybody. So Jason Gallagher, all the way down, a long spin for this guy as well. A lot of drivers, of course, coming down from Donegal and Northern Ireland for this round, which is quite down south in the country, just north of Cork City here. So a long spin for a lot of these drivers to compete this weekend. And let's see if Jason Gallagher can do a little bit better. Beautifully turned out BMW here actually by him.
Absolutely, Mike. He said he had some mechanical issues there earlier on. He was complaining about that, but hopefully that's all sorted for him, and he's ready to go. As we can see, the wiper still there, so I'm not too sure if there's a few drops of rain coming down. But he's at the top of the gear. Something doesn't look right there, Mike. No, straightens up as he comes in on his initiation, and it looks like he's shutting it down. Yeah, I've been trying to buy this guy's front wheels off him for a long time. He's got the work VSKFs, the OG ones, but then they came out with a new one, so there's no need now. So he's lost his chance with me there. I can just get new ones. But yeah, turbo 325 engine, turbo BMW 2.5 engine in this, and sometimes when you turbo these BMW engines it can work out, sometimes it doesn't, and looks like it mightn't be working out here for the man from, I don't even know how to pronounce this, Eddie Power was giving out to me so much. It's Ballylybofey in Donegal. I call it Ballybofey, but apparently I'm going to get shot for that. I would not have agreed with you, Mike. I would have said Ballybofey myself. It's from Donegal, so you could try maybe an accent. Ballybofey. Yeah, maybe that's it. Could be Daniel O'Donnell kind of pronunciation there, but yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not going to try and say it even, to be honest, because I'm going to mess it up and Eddie's going to give out to me or commentator for tomorrow. But you know what? We'll have Eddie up soon in qualifying. We can give him a bit of stick back. So it's our second female competitor here. It is the one and only Katrina Darren, the wife of the good Matt Darren, who we will see later on. Katrina fires the car in there a little bit too exuberantly and misses clipping zone 2 as a result. Now she will carry that corner speed from the outside line with her here though, down the straight, which helped her through 3, 4 and 5. Just touches on 6 there, a little bit shy there on the inside line. Does pick up 7, but you know what, it's not a perfect line here from Katrina. She's generally doing the right thing, but maybe not a perfect execution. Absolutely, Mike, as you may have said before, a bit scrappy, but she did get around the track, she did get across there, and she puts a score on the board for herself. It's a 65 for Mrs. Darren in that beautiful BMW E30. Mrs. Darren, yes, that's exactly what she is. I just wasn't going to chance pronouncing the name, Mike, if I'm honest with you. Just say Katrina, it's easier. So Katrina Darren with, you know what, it's a 65, which actually puts her into second position so far, guys. So we're very used to seeing huge scores coming through in Pro 2, but you know what? Today, not so much. Just shows how difficult it is. Absolutely. The weather might be catching people out. Here's a man, Shane Ward, in his beautiful coloured Sylvia, getting set up for his first run. A big initiation there. Looks like he's right on the line, Mike, but a bit too deep. Going for that outer side of the track. Will he make his way fully around? Kind of just misses that zone as well, a bit shy, and straightens up there. Yeah, the man from the west, he's a big
a big car fan, a big A86 fan, and he's been involved in various media and the car scene with a long time. Decided to chance his hand at competitive drifting. This is his first year, and of course, as a result, he is a rookie driver. So maybe not all coming together for Shane there, still finding his feet a little bit in the championship, but yeah, does get a score on the board, and once again will carry that through in his own rookie class.
Absolutely, Mike, a driver that is out there to have fun and make the most of what he can out there on track. Unfortunately, it will be a 0 on his first run. The judges have obviously concluded that from the situation he had there, a few straightens up, and it just wasn't enough really to get a score on the board for himself. But he does have a second chance in his second qualifying run.
He does indeed, and we'll see Shane out again. Now it is the wild man from the west. It is Conor Ansbro in the beautiful Candy Culture era 180SX, slightly shy of zone 1 there, a bit of a waver as well, and then misses 2. So once again, you need that wide line and you need to tuck the front end in through zone 2. So not coming together for Conor on the initiation, but he has a chance of getting it right for the second part of the lap, and he very much doesn't. Catches understeer, then the front catches grip and induces snap oversteer. So Conor once again very much struggling with the conditions here, and you know what, Adam, I'd love a lap in this track just to see what's going on, but it looks very difficult to drive today.
I definitely agree with you, Mike. It looks like a lot of these drivers we've seen so far are really gripped up. Unfortunately, that will be the way for him because the weather has just changed from as they come into their first qualifying runs. His score there is for Conor Ansbro, and it's a 0, unfortunately, for him, but he will have a second chance in his second one. As I said, Mike, all these drivers really must have their cars set up and ready for the wet, but unfortunately that changed for him as they came out on track.
It did indeed, Adam. Yeah, I think it looks like a lot of wet setups out there. The cars look super difficult to drive. It just might have been too late for them to go doing any major adjustments. As we move it along to, it is David Flaherty in another turbo BMW. A nice initiation there from David. Maybe could have been a few feet further to the left, and as a result once again misses clipping zone 2. So this track and this layout, Kieran Hines a devious master, so he is, and making it difficult for the drivers here in an already difficult day.
Absolutely, Mike. Conditions really catching everyone out, but David Flaherty is giving everything he can, trying to put a score on the board. He's creating loads of smoke in that car, and he looks really concentrated. We see him passing the judging tower here before he comes up. Oh, it's an early spin there, Mike. A lot of angle there, but he does keep it and gets that car across the line. Yeah, it's a M54B 30 turbo in this car, so 3-litre BMW turbo, 400 brake horsepower, built on axle stands by the man himself, David Flaherty, and it's a 51.7. His goal for the year is just to qualify as much as he possibly can and have fun, so hopefully he can improve on his score in the next one. Now, Ian Hamilton, this car, you will have seen this car making it all the way to the top 4 in Pro at Bishop's Court at round 2 of IDS just a few weeks ago, in the hands of an absolute lunatic, of course, Jack Mahoney, but it is in the car's owner's hands right now. It's Ian Hamilton in the dry with the twin cam. He was praying for rain at the last round. Listen to that noise. It's a 20 valve AE86. Listen to the throttle bodies just being opened there by his right foot. Fantastic noise, and one which takes us back to the early days here of Irish drifting in Watergrasshill. But you know what, in the dry, does he have enough? No, he doesn't seem to have enough in the dry, Adam. It's a tough car to drive. I can imagine so, Mike. I've heard so many people around the pits admiring that car, saying how fun it must be to drive it, but it's definitely on the lower side of the power scale on the grid, I would imagine. Yeah, well, a 20 valve blacktop that came in the front wheel drive AE 11111 would have been about 170 brake horsepower. You would imagine that they'd breathe on it a little bit, but that little horsepower war that was going on with the 1.6 engines in Japan at the time, they had a lot squeezed out of them from the factory, so it's quite hard to get any horsepower. It's expensive to get them to make much power, so maybe 180 horsepower or something out of that with a few breathing mods and things, so tough going. Absolutely, Mike, and there's a 0 on the board for me. He might have a chance. It might be a few drops of rain for a second qualifying run. He'll feel like a bigger car. Either way, we're moving on to our next driver. It's Barry Forrest in his Skyline, getting ready for his first qualifying run. Yeah, the 4-door R32, the big Skyline, and you know what, and just looking at this lap, that's a nice initiation from Barry Forrest. Okay, maybe could have flicked it onto angle a little bit nicer there, used the handbrake to steady the car, but it's his first qualifier. You want to get the banker on the board, and the way everybody else has been going, Barry Forrest, maybe this big long heavier chassis might be just working out here in Watergrasshill. Absolutely, it looks like it for him. Like, he doesn't look like he pays too much attention to the looks and style of that car. I personally am a big fan of it. It's a missile looking thing, but he's definitely worked on the setup of it, and it's worked out perfectly for him in here in his first qualifying run. Yeah. He puts a score on the board for himself, Mike, topping the leaderboard so far. It is a 74.7.
Yeah, so a good score there from Barry, and just getting note there that we don't have Patrick Tobin later on, so that's unfortunate. But Barry Forrest there, topping qualifying with a 74.3, and that is top score so far. Now another prospect for the future. It is young Luke Butler, currently doing his leaving cert, as are a lot of drivers doing their leaving and junior certs this weekend. But more importantly, they're here competing, which is obviously the most important thing. Luke Butler from the priorities. Luke Butler from Charleville, County Cork, currently building another BMW chassis, which will have 2JZ power, but that is a while away yet. And Luke Butler doing the clipping zone 2 thing perfectly well, I must say. There, you know, you just look at Luke and you can see it in him. If he had the car, he just has it. He can make that BMW work for him, and I think when he gets the horsepower in a couple of seasons under his belt, he's going to be definitely one to watch. And you can see him stretching out the lines there in the beamer, using the handbrake to try to just maximise his angle there through the corners and stretch out that line. And it's an interesting lap there from Luke Butler, making the BMW work, and it's a 60.7. So the judges kind of liking what they saw, but obviously some corrections due to the lack of horsepower there.
Obviously, Mike, there's a reason we're here commentating. The lads are out there judging. It's definitely one to be proud of, though, for young Luke Butler, as we can see him pushing that little BMW around the track. Either way, up next we got Celtic Customs, if I'm correct saying?
Celtic Customs,
Celtic Customs. Nathan Walsh in his beautiful MX-5.
Yeah, a tough car to drive. V8 power in this car, all the horsepower, but a very sharp chassis, obviously, and a very difficult one. It's a double wishbone chassis, front and rear. They're essentially a tiny little race car, and they're like an FD RX-7, their bigger sister. And as he drops a wheel, or possibly two, outside the line there, you know, he's been improving it. As you can see, it's not an easy car to drive. He puts cones flying, he's dropping wheels. But I have to say, overall here, good aggression from Nathan Walsh and making the little MX-5 work as best as possible. You can see how twitchy it is there crossing the line. The car is just so difficult, and the inputs you have to have in that are so small and so fast and sharp to get those cars to be stable. They're just a little bit more difficult than a lot of other cars on the grid, and it's a 56.7 there for Nathan Walsh. So a lot of drivers here. Maybe the cut-off point is going to be lower today, so let's say nothing. Of course, we are in reverse championship order, and again, theoretically, the bigger scores should be coming in as we move our way down along the championship.
Absolutely, Mike. We never know what way things will go. Them lower power cars can feel like they've more when the rain drops down, or it could just stay dry and we don't know. Either way, we're moving on to our next driver. Is Jason Morren in his beautiful red Sylvia pushing around the track here, and he does get it right in there for zone 2, Mike. And he's coming down the back straight here. He looks like he's on a great line, a lot of speed before he comes into the first hairpin. Yeah, I'm liking this from Jason, but way too much speed. Didn't use the foot brake there, maybe coming down into that hairpin. You have to just get on the foot brake as well, usually, to scrub off the speed. And maybe Jason there just losing concentration for a second and trying to carry his speed. As we see the marshal there shaking his head, saying, "No, she's beached, buddy. She's not coming out under her own power." Absolutely, we'll have to see Mr. John Shanahan
if
come out again to pull out, I'd say. If
they dug out the front left wheel there, if they just dug out the stones in front of it and dug out the rear wheels, I think that would probably come out of there, to be honest. Just because, you know, they tend to beach themselves in a hole of their own wheels dug in, but if you dig them out, usually they'll actually get out under their own power. But might be just safer to call Big John in this. You call, we'll haul, Big John Shanahan says.
Exactly, Mike. That will be a 0
Here he comes.
Score for
almost crashes into the Sylvia.
He was going for the outside line, Mike, himself.
He was, yeah. You can see John. John's scalpels are either a sledgehammer or a trolley jack. I've seen John sledging out cars with a trolley jack in the past. I've seen that with my own eyes. It's scary.
Doesn't matter what the tool is, he'll make sure it gets done.
Exactly. What a man. But yeah, so quick recovery here for the Sylvia of Jason Morren. And Jason getting this car going. He was down with ourselves in Group D actually Thursday, getting the car going. So had a couple of clutch issues. Came down, got a few bits. Looks like he got the car going. Super nice guy. And hopefully he gets back out for the second lap here, because I know that he put a lot of work into this car all week trying to get it out, as all these competitors did, and unfortunately didn't work out for him as he just gets recovered here from John. And speaking of Group D, let's have a word from our sponsors, of course. IDS is brought to you this season, guys, by Red Bull and Lucky Day Competitions, as well as ECU Master, GMD Tyre and Service Centre, Yugon Factory, TS Drift Days, who hold practice days down here, and you can bring your own car down, drive this exact track with Tommy and the guys, and driftmagazine.eu covering all Irish drifting and all the scene very well. And that is also in conjunction with Strom Wheels, Turn Distribution even, Zuba, Group D, CDM Sport and Shift AM, IDS media partner from this year. So thank you to all those companies, and yeah, once again, just a little bit of recovery going on here. I'm not sure if I can see a tow hook on the front of that car, easily accessible, but too busy changing clutches and stuff.
Absolutely, Mike, making sure the car is ready. Wasn't expecting to be off the track, I would imagine. It's definitely not what anyone anticipates before they head out on their first run. Mike, as a ex-pro driver yourself, what would it be like on the grid line in a situation like this? What would be going through your head when you don't really have time to make adjustments to that car? All morning it has been wet, and they've really been trying to dial the car into that, and now it's completely dry. The sun's actually coming out there. As a ginger myself, I'd say if I went out there, I'd be sunburnt again. I actually got sunburnt yesterday, but...
Yeah, but you're redhead, Adam. You're gonna like.
At least I have hair, Mike.
True. Mine is getting less and less, and what I have of it is going grey quick. So I'm not in any position to mock you, to be honest. But nerves, Adam, to answer your question, nerves is what goes through your mind. I thought that it might have been just myself at times, but the more you speak to drivers and the more time you spend on the grid, you realise that everyone, including James Dean, gets extremely nervous before qualifying. You don't really mind when you're in the show, you're looking forward to the battle, you're just going as hard as you possibly can, but before qualifying, especially before your first one, you're really nervous, and especially if you make a mess of your first one, like Jason has done, for your second one, then the pressure's massively on, because if you don't pull something out of the bag, you're going home, and all that work and all that money hasn't qualified you. So yeah, basically nerves, and that goes for high 90% of the grid. Just nervous.
Absolutely, Mike. As you said, there was a lot of time and effort put into these cars. I see him with Mr. Slideboy Jimmy O'Mahony over the last few weeks, working on his car, making sure he could get it ready and set up for it today. And then things could just change all of a sudden. You could have a great practice, and unfortunately, just when it comes to your qualifying one, conditions could change. You could have car issues. You never know what could happen. It could just mess things up for you.
It could indeed, yeah. It could. It's extremely difficult. You just have to go into a place, you just have to find, go back on previous good results and runs you've had, and just go into a place of complete concentration and complete zen if you can, to go a little bit deep about it. But you have to just understand it's you, your car and the track. There's nothing else. There's nothing else in the world for those 40-50 seconds, and if you can go into that place, usually you can hold it together. But now Mattis Karaitis has to go into that place. The 28-year-old from Tullamore, the mechanic with the 1JZ powered 600 brake horsepower E46 BMW with a lovely entry there. Can he get the front pushed in? Kind of picks up a little bit of clipping zone 2, picks up all of 3, that's for sure. Picks up 4, nice transition back for 5, locks up the front. Oh, runs a little bit wide, tries to actually scrub off some angle to not drop the wheel. Nice technique there to make up for the mistake, but doesn't work out perfectly for him. So a bit of a mistake there. Picks up 6, 7, 8, picks up 9, drags the handbrake through 9, and full throttle across the line, and a beautiful line there through outer zone 10. So a very good lap there from Mattis Karaitis, except for that mistake around the first hairpin, and I think the judges are going to like that, and they do. Mattis Karaitis actually goes into first position, guys, here with a 76, so a huge score there in terms of what we've seen so far, at least for Mattis, so congrats to him. But remember, guys, we are in reverse championship orders. Those scores are theoretically at least going to get a lot better according as we move up through qualifying. Now it is the IDS scrutineer this year, I believe. It's Paul Dempsey, Paulie D, in the ex-Chris Brady Lucky Day Competitions SR20 powered Corolla, a car that we always say it's been in many hands over the years, and everybody who's ever driven this car says that it's a difficult one to drive. And Paulie D showing us that it's a difficult one to drive, and spinning out, unfortunately for Paul Dempsey, putting himself under pressure for the second lap there. So Paul Dempsey, the Pro2 driver, with a 0. And it's worth mentioning as well, Adam, for last lap, Mattis Karaitis, he's a Pro2 rookie driver, so he scored a 76, so he's now leading the rookie class also, as well as qualifying himself so far for the Pro2 class outright.
Absolutely, Mike, as you explained at the start of the day as well, that will give them points within their own championship as well. Unfortunately, as you said, that will be a 0 for the one and only Paul Dempsey. But up next, we have the one and the only Candy Culture, Francie Hines. A man I was talking to in the pits, a great character. He has been having clutch issues over the weekend. He's been telling me he's doing a start-stop strategy when he's in the grid line just to make sure it doesn't get too warm. But either way, he's going to try and make it work for himself here. He's praying for the rain, but it's now dried up. He's doing a lovely line so far, Mike, in that 180. He looks very comfortable in this here.
Yeah, well, that's the last thing you want, is thinking about a mechanical issue while you're out there on track, because in this Watergrasshill track, as you can see from that wave over there in correction, there's so much to think of while you're out there driving. The last thing you want to be thinking of is waiting for clutch slip or something to happen. So maybe that getting into Francis Hines' head a little bit there as he got out of the down out of the first straight. But you know what, doesn't sound like he's got any clutch slip there in the Sill 80, and he gets extra points from me anyway for a Sill 80 in the first place. So Francie Hines there holding together and getting a score on the board.
Absolutely, and Mike, absolutely, Mike, a man that I was speaking to yesterday in the pits, and I wasn't sure if he was going to make it out for qualifying today, but he sure does, and he gets a score on the board for himself. It's a 58.7 for Francie Hines.
Yeah, and next up is Owen McGee in the McGee Plant Services sponsored Sylvia, and Owen McGee struggling a little bit this season on and off. He's a man who has a very good lap in him when he puts it together. Bit of a wild man in and out of the car. So let's see what he can do. Listen to this full throttle and hitting the rev limiter in the 180SX. A nice flick to the left and right. Beautiful entry there from Owen McGee. He really has the ability to put it together. Just needs that consistency as he hits the limiter, missing clipping point 2 in the process. And the judges, once again, guys, have a big weight on the initiation and on clipping point 2, because that's the technical part of the track that they want to see nailed. So a lot of points left on the board already by Owen McGee. Now gets it back together, liking the black and bronze look of this car.
Absolutely, Mike, I agree with you. He creates loads of smoke. Definitely has enough power to make his way around this track, and he definitely has a score he should be proud of, or a run he should be proud of, Mike. We're waiting for his score to drop in here as he comes in. It's 65.3 for the one and only Owen McGee,
yeah,
Pro2 driver.
I mean, in Bishop's Court we saw quite high scores the last round, just 4 clipping points on that track. Go on to the next round, there's 10 clipping zones on this track. So, you know, a big difference in technicality between the two tracks back to back for these drivers. Now Molly Carr, who is the sister of Harry Carr from Ballymoney, is on the line, and Molly very used to driving in Scotland, in Driftland, and is a very, very good driver, let me tell you. She's our 3rd female competitor on the grid in the 350Z, our first 350 we've had for qualifying. Slightly early initiation, but you know what? She's actually, after getting it spot on, tucks the front in, just picks up the edge of outer zone 2, picks up 3. Not a lot of angle here from Molly, but making it work, maintains drift, doesn't go off track. Gets on the throttle. She's going to have to pin the throttle here now in a 350 to get it all the way over here. She does exactly that. Gets back on the throttle, feathers it up the hill. This is really nice from Molly Carr here, guys. She's just doing a nice controlled first lap, exactly as you want to do. She's done all the hard work. Can she get it across the line? She can indeed. What a lap from Molly Carr.
What an absolute outstanding lap for the young lady, Molly Carr, as she put down her first qualifying run. Definitely a run she should be proud of, and her score has come in for us and puts her into 3rd place on the board so far. It's a 69.3 for the young lady from up the north. Yeah,
so a great score there from Molly Carr in the 350Z. Really, really controlled lap, and a thinking person's lap, I would say. She really, really knew what she was out to do there. Now it is the man who will be joining us in commentary tomorrow. It is one and only the power in the tower, but he's the power down in the track at the moment. It's Eddie Power, originally from Maynooth, now playing his straight in Donegal, flicks the car in and just misses zone 2 there and has a bit of a straightening of the wheels. Let's see if he can get it together for the second half of the lap here. It's pretty much perfect on the outside of the first hairpin. Maybe not a perfect first corner, but looking like he's... Oh, and I was just saying, looking like he's getting it together, but unfortunately they're just shutting it down. Not sure if it was a transmission issue there or something, but Eddie Power with a 0 there, unfortunately. Looking good for the second half of that lap. But, yeah. Unfortunately, a mechanical there definitely catching Eddie Power. Maybe went for a downshift and missed it. Hopefully that's all it was, but I don't know, he shut it down either way. So Eddie will be under pressure for the next one, the Pro2 rookie driver, and he will be up here in the tower with us tomorrow, hopefully anyway. as we move it along to David Ford, another man from the west. Lots of Galway Mayo competitors at this round so far. Turbo 1UZ Toyota power, an engine which obviously wasn't turbo first day, with a big Wuhan Warrior eBay turbo on it. Literally 200 quid turbo at most. That's delivered.
You looked into yourself a few times, I'd say.
And Dave just says that he's just making it work. You've got 4 litres of V8 power to spool up that turbo, and it's of course in the R32 Skyline chassis. So very interesting build there from Dave, the mechanic himself, of course, self-sponsored with 4D Autos. Ford, David Ford, 4D.
Oh, I see. What you're on there, Mike.
See
Very
that?
creative. Very creative, so it was.
Fantastic job there from David on the old on the old branding. So yeah, and just looking down here, and Dave being told to warm tyres.
He's just getting ready, so he is, Mike.
Yep. Yeah, just confirming there that AD Power did have a mechanical lost drive there, so hopefully they can get the car going. Not the best year mechanically for AD Power, but hopefully they can get it going for the second one. But we have to go down to the line. Beautiful skyline here, beautiful black and pinky purple livery there of David Ford. Ready to leave the line under the Red Bull ring here, and we have a clear track, I believe, as we look at Kevin there, our start line marshal, looking pensively to the west.
Absolutely, Mike. Very concentrated, waiting for
contemplative even.
Contemplative, you could
yeah.
say so. Waiting for our head of track today, Mr. Towney, to give him the go ahead and send Mr. 4D Ford
exactly
out for his first run.
Yeah, and just saying about the Red Bull Ring, we have of course that crazy Red Bull event coming up in very, very soon now, actually, in Spike Island here in Cork, also just off the coast in Cork Harbour there, just off the coast of Cove. Fantastic event coming up there in just a few weeks time now. The Red Bull Drift Pursuit, it's going to be absolutely crazy. I mean, drifting on an island with that type of drift event, wow. But anyway, we have to get back to IDS round 3 here. David Ford flicks it left and doesn't go for the big flaky kind of, just tentatively gets it back to the right and misses zone 2 as well. But you know what, I guarantee you, Adam, as we go down the championship and the guys who've got this track figured out, we'll see more drivers picking up zone 2 according as we move up the championship. But David Ford not quite getting it there. A lot of drivers bring in too much heat over the hill and can't get it scrubbed off, unfortunately. But second half of the lap is good here from Dave, picking up all the clipping zones, nice transitions, nice style, and maybe could have got on the throttle half a second earlier there just to maintain his angle. Has a tiny adjustment, but you know what, not a bad lap there from Dave overall, especially the second half. And
Absolutely,
Dave,
Mike.
yeah, scores a 72.
Scores a 72, definitely one to be proud of, and puts him in qualifying marks at the moment. A driver that I saw out through practice, and I was doing some really solid runs, so he was. But obviously, when it comes to qualifying, Mike, and it's time to put a score on the board, the pressure might just get to him, change things up. But he did make it work for himself. Either way, moving on to our next driver, it's Dean Shields.
Yeah, Dean Shields. The guys there were one of the many people to visit us in Group T yesterday during the practice day, having some cooling issues in this car, I believe, but hopefully they're getting it sorted. Doesn't sound like he's sparing it anyway, Adam, that's for sure. There's a lot of rev limiter going on down there inside the Sylvia, but just fails to reinitiate and unfortunately maybe missed the gear. A lot of drivers have to go for a down change there on the hairpin, so possibly, and he does the right thing and gets it back out straight away, so maybe went for a down change to second or something, possibly. I know there's talks of a quick change being bought for this car, which would probably negate the need for a gear change. You just get your gearing right. Not sure if that happened, obviously, but it can be that if you try to knock it back, for instance, if you're geared quite long and you're using third gear and can go back to second there, you can just miss the downshift sometimes through the H pattern box, and that's the end result. You got to reinitiate and you don't have any drive.
Exactly, Mike, and as you said there, changing down gears, that is a decel zone, so that is where they will be slowing down, but still trying to keep in drift, keeping that angle and keeping that line as perfect as the way the judges want it. That will be a 0 on the board from either way. We're moving up to our next driver, another Kerry man, Colin O'Sullivan, a man that missed practice yesterday. Well, he was doing his leaving cert.
Yeah, and he doesn't look too upset about it in his picture there on the live stream. He looks very happy about it. So
I asked him yesterday how he got into leaving cert, and he turns around to me, I won, sure, I came first place.
Yeah, exactly. As we look here at our head marshal Richie Kelleher, definitely not throwing away a cigarette there.
Absolutely not. I'd say that was a crumb off a biscuit or something.
Yeah,
That's more Richie style.
Must be a biscuit there, exactly. So Richie doing a little bit of relief start line, Marshall here possibly.
You almost wouldn't recognise Richie without the big leaf blower.
Yeah, exactly, the big leaf blower that he woke up all the staff with at round 2 on Bishop's Court. Came in at 6 o'clock in the morning with a big petrol leaf blower into the staff accommodation and woke them all up very suddenly, I will say.
Absolutely, Mike, I know because I was there myself. Either way, Colin Sullivan, a young driver, a very talented young driver, and one that's not scared of putting that car where it needs to be. Kept the inside line there after zone 1 and zone 2 and making his way down the back straight into the first hairpin. Solid line so far, Mike. Did look like he was a bit shallow there on that zone and on that zone as well as he comes up the hill here.
Yeah, I'm actually dying to have a go at this track because it looks like it's after picking up so much grip here. A lot of drivers leaving those outside zones after them, and even there, Colin not getting quite out to the very outside. So be very interesting to see the grip levels on this track. I think it's catching out a lot of drivers, as we said, after the wet. Colin O'Sullivan definitely will be coming back with a stronger second lap. I would say he'll have that unless it rains, which is forecasted, so who knows. But 57.7 for Sully there for Colin O'Sullivan, the young man doing his leaving cert at the moment from Kilflynn, just down the road from 360 Motorsports Park. Now Niall Houston was another driver giving out in the pits about everything, to be honest, about the car is tough and the track is tough, and every driver seemed to be giving out this morning that they were struggling, but they're all in the same boat. So beautiful S14. I was just admiring this car in the pits, and what a flick entry. Look at that, almost backwards in over the hill, and does the right thing, then just gets on the foot brake, slows down the car and gets it absolutely perfect through zone 2. And then a nice billow of tyre smoke there from the back of the S14. Feathers the throttle here. 6-cylinder power, throws up plenty of sods here. Oh, runs very wide, almost breaks a wheel, I would say. You know what, that was a big impact on the rear suspension of that car, and there's a big rut off track there. So Niall Houston's going to have to check his back right suspension arms after that one, I would say.
Absolutely, Mike, I'd say so. Full commitment there to come in for his initiation into zone 2. Did the line absolutely perfectly, but just went a bit too deep in some other zones, unfortunately. But yet, we're waiting for the score to drop in here. It's definitely one you should be proud of, and we're waiting for it because it looked like a solid run, Mike. I can't see it here on our board in front of us.
Yeah, we'll just have to find him here on the board until it drops up on the live stream. And guys, thank you for joining us here at Watergrasshill if you're here in the flesh, and thank you very much if you are watching on the live stream as well.
Absolutely, Niall Houston's score has come in there. It's a 73 for Niall Houston, putting him third in the board so far.
Well, you know what, it wasn't a perfect lap from Niall, but he did get the first section so right. That just goes to show how much the judges are leaning towards that first trickiest section of the track. If you get that right, you're in with a shout, to be honest. So Niall Houston definitely going off track there a couple of places, but the first section was pretty much perfect, so pick you up a lot of points for that one. So we move it along to the next driver on the line. It is the one and only Ollie Cassidy, also looking chuffed in his picture, his profile picture here on the live stream.
Absolutely, Mike looks very smug in himself. Delighted, I'd say. He's out to be happy to be out drifting this weekend again.
He is indeed. And I'm just going to fire up YouTube here on my phone to have a look at the comments and keep interacting with you guys at home. Be sure to get your comments in if you're watching from the comfort of your own home or wherever you may be this beautiful Saturday, as we are down here in County Cork in Ireland for the third round of the Irish Drift Series, and as Ollie Cassidy entertains us out on track with another R32 Skyline with too much angle and way too much angle.
Absolutely, Mike. Too much angle there as he came into Tower Zone 5. Big flicks trying to get that car around, putting every bit of power into it. But he didn't want to do what everyone else used to be doing, which was going into that gravel and catching a lot of people out.
Yeah, it looks so tricky out there. Again, would love to have first-hand experience of this because it looks like it's catching everybody out. So any guys who are getting into the 70s even, props to you because it's difficult conditions. Look at this Alan Connaty looking absolutely like a man that's on his way or currently out on Ibiza in his picture on the live stream here, as he kicks the clutch in the beautiful Zinky S14, flicks it in, picks up all of one now. Can he get the front of it? He does. Listen to the clutch kick, just gets the front of it into zone 2. Picks up 3 on his way. Maybe not huge angle through the transition, doesn't need it though. Locks up the front for a split second on the brakes. It's a nice lap here from Alan Connaty. He's picking up all the zones, dials on a bit of angle there. He's got a long way to get to this corner. He does it, pretty much does it perfectly. Maybe not the perfect line on the outside here, Adam, but generally picking up all the zones, and I think this is going to be well up there, and this should be in the 70s easily.
Absolutely, Mike. Another great character of the drift community here up in Watergrass. driver that is always up for a bit of banter. We were recording some videos with him yesterday. Definitely one of the most stylish cars out there. He's part of the Lemon style team, the 11-0 team. They're a big group of bike, and they have beautiful cars.
Yeah, really cool cars by all the guys there in that team, that's for sure. Loving the zinky look on the S14. Alan Connaughey, and he does get into the 70s, and in fact he got into the 80s. It's an 84.7 for Alan Connaughey, topping qualifying by quite a margin, by 8 points over it even at the moment. So Alan Connaughey topping qualifying. Now we move it along to Matt Darren, the best beard in Irish drifting, one of the nicest guys in the paddock, and he's got a V8 turbo. I'm going to say it's an M64, but I stand to be corrected. I don't know my Beamer engine codes that well. It's a V8. It's like an E39, I think, V8 anyway, with a turbo on it, whatever that is. So it's a big power car here in the hands of Matt Darren. Owns his own garage, Matt's Garage Port there in County Laois, and he's a dab hand at the Beamers, and you know what, he's got his own working pretty well here at him, because that's a big lap from Matt Darren. And again guys, we are in reverse championship order, so bear in mind that the laps are going to be coming thicker and faster here.
Absolutely, Mike. That was an unbelievable run then from Matt Darren. Pretty sure he topped qualifying back in round 2 as well, and he's definitely going to get up in the high board here already for round 3. It is a 76 from Matt Darren, putting him in 3rd place on the board so far, Mike.
Indeed, a great lap there from Matt Darren. Just seeing on the live stream here, what's the rules in IDS dropping wheels off? 1 wheel is a small deduction, 2 wheels is a much larger deduction, 3 wheels is pretty much a huge deduction, and 4 wheels is a 0. So it has to be 4 wheels off for a 0. Stuart Gordon will be looking to keep all the wheels on the track. He's run very wide. He's trying to drop a couple of wheels here. I think he possibly has done at least one there on the outside of that corner. Of course, once again, it drops downhill there, and it's very easy to overshoot it. It's all falling apart here for Stuart Gordon. Seems to be dialing on a little bit too much angle there and not getting the grip. Looks like the car is maybe struggling for a little bit of side bite and not quite stopping rotating for him when he wanted to. So you might need to drive this car a little bit tentatively. He might want to play around with the suspension on that one there. So Stuart Gordon, bit of a sketchy lap there compared to the last 2 that we've seen.
Definitely, Mike, as we keep saying, the lead judge here, Kieran Hines, who also designed this track, make sure this track can only be driven one way, and that's the way you need to drive it. And initiation and zone tune there are massive factors for that. You need to have them right in the exact line to get that speed, to get down that back straight. Otherwise, we can see there, even for that run, he came in with just a bit too much commitment and nearly pushing back into that, needing a lot of corrections for himself. Yeah,
absolutely. Now we move it along to the man from Cork. It is Cian Leahy from Mill Street. Flicks in the 330 BMW down over the hill here in Watergrasshill. Not picking up, not using a huge amount of angle here, and misses zone 4 as a result. Picks up 5 though on his way. Totally sacrifices 4 and totally sacrifices 6 as well. Needs to be a little bit more aggressive here. He has had no practice, I know that much. I was speaking with him in the pits, I think 1 lap of practice. He's had mechanical issues all day, so you know what? For a guy with no practice, Cian Leahy is not doing all that bad here as he clutch kicks the car 5, 6, 7 times across the line there.
Definitely, Mike. Lost count of how many times he clutch kicked him. He made sure he get it across there. Another man that I was actually speaking to down the pits as well, and he was not sure if he was going to make qualifying, but he did. The team worked together and they got it through for him. And his score has come in for us, Mike. Can you see it there on the board?
Yeah, it is 42.7. 42.7 for Cian Leahy. So Cian will have to improve. Pro2 driver there as well, so he's not going to be qualifying with that, I would say. And this man with the most powerful car, I think, on the grid, it is Nathan Corcoran, finally getting this car working and on his side this year. And I hope I wasn't after giving him the commentator's curse there. Seemed to stop for a second and stutter. Look at the pace of this car. 2JZ power, 800 odd brake horsepower in this E46 BMW. He's been putting so much money, so much time into this car over the last few years, but they have it working finally, and working very well by the looks of it. Not a perfect lap around the first one, but definitely a good second half as he rubs the wall there on the transition. And just listen, he just has to feather the throttle. It's not even laggy with all that power. It just sounds like such a good engine now.
Absolutely, Mike. He put a lot of time and effort into that car. I've seen him out many track days, and I've seen him throughout the last 2 rounds giving everything he can to make sure that car was right. We've even seen the one of the huge competitors for the Pro1 series, Harry Carr, fighting in that car in round 1 back in Japfest, and his score did come in there for Nathan Corcoran. It was a 57?
57, yeah.
57 for Nathan Corcoran.
Yeah, here comes a car I know very well. It's Mr. Ian Patterson in the Group D E30 BMW. Also turbo 1UZ power. Oh, but a big correction there from Ian. Maybe initiated a little bit too early. maybe initiated 15-20 feet too early and got caught on that inside line there, so a huge mistake from Ian there. Difficult enough car to drive, very, very fast. It's on 15s, it's got 550 brake horsepower. So snappy little powerful chassis with quite a lot of grip and pace here, so a difficult little wasp of a thing to drive, and he'll have to improve on the next one. A bit of a sketchy lap there for Ian, unfortunately.
Absolutely, Mike. Unfortunately, didn't look the way he wanted it to go. Has been having some car issues over the last couple of rounds as well. As you noted there, Mike, they're 15-inch tyres. If I'm correct in saying, he's allowed to run slicks in that.
Yeah.
Due to that, and everyone else has to run road tyres with
yeah.
the Pro2 car.
Well, not everyone else. The guys on bigger wheels.
Yes.
It's not just for Ian. But yeah, basically all Pro2 competitors have to run road tyres that you can buy in your local tyre centre, basically. Obviously the pro guys tomorrow can run semi-slick racing tyres, but in order to level the playing field, if you run 15-inch wheels, you are allowed to, for the smaller cars to be able to compete, essentially, you are allowed to run the semi-slick tyres. So the thing is, you need quite a lot of power to run those tyres. You're not going to get them on a 170 horsepower Corolla and make it work. So maybe an SR20 Corolla now with 15s on the semi-slicks would be a really good recipe for this class. Or an E30 with a turbo V8 possibly.
Quite possibly, Mike, quite possibly. I just got a note in there, Gareth Collins, we can see in the live stream, he was on the line but unfortunately had to move away. He was having some issues with the accelerator pedal, so hopefully he will get that sorted to be out for his second run of qualifying. Yeah,
it's a 0 for Ian Patterson there. We just had on the last run, so a 0 for Ian Patterson. All to do for him as well on the second one. Lots of zeros on the board though, so he's not alone, that's for sure. Gareth Collins misses his first run. Callum Coogan now is on the line in the E36 Beamer. You know what? Your heart rate never rises with Callum Coogan. He's always just going to do what needs to be done and do it very well. Watch this for Callum Coogan. It's going to be textbook line run.
Absolutely, a very consistent driver in that E36. He's very comfortable at, as you can see him here, making that car do what it needs to do and getting into each zone here in Watergrasshill, coming around the first hairpin. Nice and wide, Mike, really doing a solid line for himself.
Yeah, he's just doing Callum Coogan things, basically, to be honest, Adam. Like I said, safe pair of hands, nothing too crazy, making naturally aspirated BMW 6-cylinder power work very well for him. And look at that, he's 2 clipping points ahead of himself at all times, just makes the car work and says, yep, this is easy.
Absolutely, Mike. He's definitely one to be proud of, and his score has dropped in for us. It's a 73.
73 for Callum Coogan. Has Clark Hatton went yet? We see in the comments he has indeed. Clark Hatton has ran already, but will be going again as we have 2 qualifying runs for each driver. Now it is Jamie Hines, new power steering pump in this car yesterday. Flicks it right, flicks it left. Can he get a turn back on? He can. He timed it nicely. Flicks it. He's a tiny bit late there. Does he get it tucked in? Maybe just a tad late there on the initiation. Caught him out a small bit on zone 2, but overall very impressive there from young Jamie Hines. Another young driver from the west.
Absolutely, Mike, a young 16-year-old Jamie Hines. I'd say a solid 4 feet tall, but definitely a character of a 7-foot man. Absolutely no fear of him. He's well able to steer this car and get around. It's his first year competing. He's only started drifting within the last year and a half. But you wouldn't think that by that run, Mike. That was beautiful, wasn't it? A big cheer from the crowd here in Watergrasshill for Jamie Hines.
Big cheer for Jamie Hines, guys. According as we go down the championship order, these scores are dropping in. And if you look at on the live stream here, Pro2J, he's a Pro2 junior driver. So he's from 13 to 16 years of age in that class. And you know what?
Mike, he's just topped qualifying. It is an 85.7 for the young Jamie Hines.
Wow. What a lap from Jamie Hines. And I think had he just initiated a couple of feet earlier, he'd be in the 90s with that crazy lap. Now here's another guy with huge potential. Just up the road in Ballincollig, near Cork City, it is Marcus Heinen firing into Village Tyres S13, 2JZ power this year. Plied his trade with the BMW up to this point. Built this S13 with 2J power, and definitely a driver with a lot of potential. I see it in him. He maybe could have been a little bit wider there, but you know, you see it, he just has it as well. He's going to take a couple of seasons maybe to whittle it down to winning, but he definitely has the potential to be one of the top guys in this championship and make it all the way to pros. We see him now crossing the line. That's a great lap there from Marcus Heinen as well.
Absolutely, Mike. Definitely a very strong line and a strong lap for one of the biggest contenders in the series for the Pro2 Championship, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a 77.3 for Marcus Heinen, dropping him pretty safe for battle action. And he is in 4th position with that score already. Bear in mind as well, guys, there are championship points on there for qualifying as well in Pro2. So very important to get that high place. Declan Byrne is on next, always with the style, always with the big entry. Does it once again here in Watergrasshill, the perfect venue for doing a big entry. Picks up 2 on the way, picks up 3, picks up 4, hits the limiter very hard here in the S14 with the zinky front, picks up 5 on the way. It's pretty much textbook here so far from Declan Byrne. Maybe not perfect, but quite close to it. Big angle, look at this, right on the outside of the track from Declan Byrne. Absolutely perfect through the middle zone there. Rubs the wall with the back of the Sylvia there. Tiny correction after it, but pretty much a great lap. Guys, let's hear it. What a run. Guys, let's hear a round of applause for Declan Byrne with that lap.
Declan Byrne, definitely a huge character. I've been chatting to him a lot over the last while, especially since the last round. He did have issues in the last round with a prop shaft, as far as I believe, and his scores came in for us. He's definitely going to be proud of this one, Mike. It's a 93 for Declan Byrne.
Wow, what a run from Declan Byrne there. Absolutely crazy stuff. Topping qualifying, so once again, we are seeing those big scores dropping in. Now, a young man who I said it to him on the way into the track here, podium today, and he said, yeah, maybe. On the podium in the last round in the rookie class, it is Bartek Lesjetski in the BMW, and you know what, he's big time one for the future as well, Adam.
Absolutely, Mike. Another young lad, a very humble young man as far as I know. I was actually trying to look him up on social media to see if I could get any more information on him for our notes, but I couldn't find him.
Stalk him on Facebook.
I don't know if I'm just a bad investigator, or is this man just too humble to even have a social media page set up for himself. Either way, the SD Aero E36 is flying around the track here a bit too deep and just missing zone 2, Mike, so he comes for zone 3 and flicks it in for the first hairpin here in Watergrasshill. Lovely line so far as he's coming up here, nice and wide, consistent, lovely management of the throttle as he comes here for the shortcut around and tight and getting into all the zones.
He is indeed, yeah. Well, I can tell you, Adam, just looking at it here, Bartek is actually leading the Pro2 Rookie Championship so far, and once again these guys' scores in their championship are based solely on their qualifying results. Should they qualify for top 32 battle action in the Pro2 class outright, they will also score points in that championship. But Bartek Lesjetski, they are doing very well with a 77, putting him as the top rookie driver so far. So he is leading once again the rookies here, just beating Matas Karaitis, who's on a 76. So Bartek going into 6th position as we move along to the crazy man from DRT Automotive, 2 JZ Power in the Altezza. Look at this, listen to this, watch this. It's Andrew Kinna with about 650 brake horsepower and a tiny lack of grip there on the front. Quite typical for those chassis to sometimes suffer from a little bit of a front end grip. Difficult car to drive,
huge
but all
angle there, Mike, as he came around.
always entertaining.
Just a bit too shallow for himself then.
Always entertaining, Andrew Kinna. You don't know what's going to happen, but you know that you're going to be entertained. So yeah, lovely lap so far there from Andrew, apart from the mistake on entry and all the commitment and all the aggression points there.
Absolutely, Mike. Definitely full commitment there. As you can see, it's a big chassis and it's a heavy chassis to be pushing around the track. He does have the power for it and he makes it work for himself and puts a 72.7 on the board for himself. Andrew Canna, the Pro 2 driver.
Yeah, 72.7 for Andrew, and we move it along. No time to wait. It's young Alex Butler, also left off his fire extinguisher by accident yesterday, having to call to the shop to ourselves as well, or we got one sent down there quick. So it was all happening here down at the track yesterday. I think half the grid was calling to us in Group D for parts, to be honest. It was crazy stuff going on, I'd say. So Alex getting free fire extinguisher yesterday. But the young man for County Loud here. Oh, and I was just going to say self-sponsored by Assured Power, his dad Keith Company. But you know what? A little bit too much question. But yeah, it looked like uncharacteristic mistake there from Alex, and I'm going to say that is he after breaking a left half shaft?
Quite possibly, Mike. We can see the smoke coming from the rear tyre there.
Yeah.
It was just moving, but the car was not going forward with it.
One wheel was spinning there. Definitely a mechanical issue, and possibly not sure exactly what happened, but possibly just broke a half shaft there or something, and maybe made himself spin out, unfortunately. So
unfortunately, yeah, and hopefully he will get that sorted. There will be a 0 on the board for him. Hopefully we'll be back out for the second qualifying one and ready to go for it, the young Alex Butler. Either way, we're moving on to our next driver. Is Jason Murphy in that beautiful E36 with the Pandem kit on it.
Yeah, 1 JZ Power. We saw this car on its roof at round 1 in Mondello Park, of course, but definitely on 4 wheels here, and we did have a car rolling, I believe, yesterday as well here in Watergrasshill, which isn't unheard of. So the harder these guys are pushing, the more stuff that's happening. Look at lovely line here from Jason. Drops a wheel and almost takes the back wheel off that BMW. I heard the groans in the crowd there as the people felt that one themselves. It was definitely a big impact there in the back right and a mistake for Justin Murphy. We had Dave Richards earlier. I do believe, if memory serves me correctly, that this is Dave Richards' old car actually. So Justin Murphy there with a great lap up to that point, but a big mistake then on the middle hairpin. As we wait for Justin's score to drop in, how badly do the judges penalise him for that one?
I'm not too sure, Mike, but up next we got one of the CDM drivers. A bit quieter this time. It is Conor Duggan on the line, pushing a VA-powered E46 around the track. Does get it into both zones, into zone 3, quite deep into it, into zone 4, coming for the first hairpin, and zone 5. Long drag of the handbrake there, but gets a nice wide outside line for zone 6. Before he comes up the hill here in Watergrasshill. Lots of angle on it, Mike. Perfect line. We can see here on the live stream from the drone shots. Really tight as he comes for the wall run. Just rubs off the back. We can see the boot of that car just lifting a small bit. Absolutely outstanding run, Mike. Yeah,
Conor Duggan also entertaining as well, one of the series sponsors there in CDM Sport. Always consistent as well, and it's a big score for Conor Duggan, guys. It's an 86 for Conor Duggan in the BMW, and I just go back there quickly to Justin Murphy. His score was 58, was a little bit late coming up for us here, so 58 for Justin Murphy, 86 for Conor Duggan, and we move it along now. Look at this, it's a big entry here from Ryan Nelly in the S13 Sylvia.
Absolutely, Mike. Young Ryan Nelly, as you mentioned earlier
on. Big entry almost, Adam.
Almost, Mike. As you said earlier on there was a car that rolled here yesterday. This is actually the car, and the whole team and the pits all came together to get it going. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out for the young Ryan Nelly there. Nearly just dropping off the track, but he is safe. All is good. As we were saying, Mike, yesterday there was a bit of an incident here. That car did roll. It went out after initiation there into the gravel, and it ended up on its roof. But the team worked together, they got it going, and it was back out on track just a couple of hours later. That really just shows the highlight of the community here in Watergrasshill and the drifting and any IDS event, how it works.
Yeah, indeed. So thankfully, Ryan, absolutely perfect. These cars with huge safety gear, of course, in them, rightly so. Just a quick change there to Justin Murphy. Scored the wrong score, had dropped in. It's a 48 for Justin Murphy, just to update everyone. Now we move it along to Stefan Mooney in yet another Sylvia. We will see, of course, the classic BMW versus Sylvia battles as we progress down the top 32 battle bracket this afternoon. Always entertaining here in Watergrasshill. It is a track that could slightly favour the Sylvia, I have to say. Coming down off that first corner, according as the cars grip up. Look at this from Stefan Mooney, the Pro2 junior driver. The more I see this guy, Adam, the more I like his driving. He just looks like it's no problem to him. As we see the Jimmy Oak sticker there in the back window, the Front Street Drift Club, and 360 over the line. Guys, let's hear it for Stefan Mooney, the junior driver.
Definitely, Mike, a driver that's standing out to me from what I've seen over the last couple of rounds. A really talented young driver, and is well able to steer that car and get it where it needs to be. And his score has just dropped in for us, Mike.
Yeah, it's a 77.3 for Stefan Mooney, putting him well up there in 7th position, or 8th position, in fact. I'll try again. 6th position, in fact.
6th position. Either way, Mike, we're moving on to our next driver, is Andrew Malloy. And probably my favourite looking car out on the grid is the E36, a two-tone with a lovely, bright, candy-style red and a black top. And he's well able to steer that car and get it where it is. It looks just as good as his driving is right now, Mike, as he comes in here for our first hairpin. Does look like he's a bit too deep, but he does make it work for himself and gets really into them zones.
Yeah, lovely shade of pink there on the live stream is Andrew Malloy's car. I met his folks yesterday, actually, and he's an absolute gentleman himself from Castlewellan, all the way up in County Down, quite near Bishop's Court where we were at the last event, but quite a long way from this track in Cork. As Andrew Malloy crosses the line, this guy's got a crazy road chaser as well, absolutely cool car. And he's got a cool score. It's an 84.3 for Andrew Malloy, 84.3, so he'll be delighted with that one. That drops him well up there into 5th position. Once again, guys, reverse championship order. The big scores are starting to drop in. We've got about 8 drivers left. It is Erica's Navitskaz next in the beautiful, the always good-looking E46 BMW, like something from Japan, but very much something from Germany and very much something in Ireland. Looking good, Erica's, as we watch him here on the live stream cameras as well as real life. Right on that outside line, maybe a bit too much, so just drops a wheel a small bit, not a huge mistake. The judges will mark him down a couple of points for that one. Look at the beautiful lines of this coupe Beamer. Always love the look of this car and the livery. And Erica's Navitskaz, no handbrake drag off the wall there either, so nice technique. and crosses the line, and that's a good lap from Ericus.
Absolutely, Mike. Totally agree with you. Eric Snav's cause a person has really been standing out to us over the last couple of rounds and is well able to drive that car.
Yeah, it is M54 3-litre turbo, so 450 horsepower, getting Ericus Navitskaz an 85.3 for his efforts that time. So the bigger scores are dropping in. The drop zone currently is only 42, with Cian Leahy. So Dean Davey, the first of our Davey brothers and father, the first of our Davey family, we'll say, look at the beautiful entry there, drags the handbrake in the 180SX, maintains a lovely consistent angle in around the brow of the hill here in Watergrasshill, flicks it left, flicks it right, flicks it left again. This is a lovely lap so far here from Dean Davey. But just comes away a little bit early, Adam.
Absolutely, Mike. The Davies know how to do it, but he's making his way around here for the eldest brother of the two of the Davies, along with their father, who are all a big drift team here. The car Carton, Sylvia, 180 is pushing its way around here in Watergrasshill. As far as I know, Mike, I was down the pits earlier. I saw that Dean did have a small bit of power steering issues, but it looks like they got that fixed and back out for his qualifying run.
Yeah, and it's a 76.3 for Dean Davies, so looking like the car is working, but just sacrificed a couple of clips there. Nothing major though, and he does get a score on the board as we move it along to Jake McElveen, the Pro2 junior driver in the BMW.
A junior driver, but he looks very sophisticated and comfortable in that car, Mike. The CDM Sport sponsored driver in the E46, well able to steer and make his way around the track here in Watergrasshill. He makes his way for clipping zone 6. Lovely outside line there, making loads of smoke.
Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing here so far. It's very much on the outside line, and one of our live stream comments there saying that they need to fix that hole. You're not wrong, buddy, because it's right alongside the racing line, so it's risk versus reward here, and it's a perfect line lap there from Jake McElveen, the perfect banker qualifying first lap, which is exactly what you want. Nothing too crazy, don't take any risks, get yourself in the show. And he goes in second place in the junior championship behind Jamie Hines, and he puts himself into 8th place overall with an 83.7, which will see Jake McElveen good for battle action later on, I would say. So he'll be delighted with that one.
Absolutely, Mike. We're moving on to our next driver. It's Dylan Wilson in the beautiful E92, if I'm correct saying,
yeah,
BMW.
E92. I drive one. I drive one every day when I'm not driving a motorbike. They're a fantastic chassis as a road car. They're a great chassis as a drift car. We see James Dean, and you know the HGK guys campaigning these cars. They're the coming thing possibly for the next affordable chassis, I guess. And this car is almost like a Wasp in terms of livery. Always looks good. Always drives good in the hands of Dylan Wilson. He's doing everything right here so far. He'll have to drag the handbrake there to make the clip. He does exactly that. And you know what? That car's got all the horsepower, big 2J power, good chassis, good pilot, and this is going to be a top score, I think. And it's an 89.7 for Dylan Wilson, putting him into second position. So a huge lap there for the BMW man.
Absolutely, Mike. We're seeing the scores get higher and higher here as we come towards the end of our first round of qualifying. Either way, we're moving on to our next driver. It's Peter Malloy in another BMW, the E46. Full commitment there, Mike. He sent it down the hill here in Watergrasshill, getting zone 1 and zone 2 quite specifically perfect for the way the judges want to see it.
Yeah, he says that he's just got a very basic setup with reliability in mind. It's just an S54 straight 6, no turbos, no messing with anything like that. In the E46 M3, the mechanic, 23-year-old from Castlewellan in County Down, and listen to this, it's pretty much just foot to floor in the dry in these BMWs as he does feather the throttle around the tighter last corner now and crosses the line. Came 5th in Pro 2 last year actually, after missing the top 32 in one round, so that'll just show you how consistent Peter Malloy is.
Absolutely, Mike. The driver has said that his goals for this year is just to prove a point and show that he's capable of doing it with a simple car, and he's definitely doing that as he's near the top of the championship points at the moment. Anyway, we're moving on to the winner of round 2. It is Luke Talley from Exemplar
Airport Concierge.
That would be the word I was
That'll be the one.
Mike.
And you know what? Luke Talbot, to give him his real name. He's looking, I was just going to say, he's looking so much better every round. Every time we see him out here, he's looking like he's taking another step in the right direction, taking another step towards that elusive pro class, but shutting it down there. Luke Talley with the, I think, 2J power in that GTR 86. It's a GR 86 front on a GT 86. So Luke Talley, unfortunately, now will be looking to get that car back up and running. Possibly an electrical issue or something there, I'm not sure. But just unfortunately has to stop the car.
very unfortunate, Mike. A driver that's been going very well throughout practice this weekend. Driving very well all the time. Definitely a huge contender to make his way into the Pro 1 class.
What a time for it to happen as well, Adam. Your first qualifier. I mean, that's tough going. He's third in Pro 2 at the moment. We're here in reverse championship order. So, unfortunately, not perfect start there. But the guy who is in second in the Pro 2, and he's a Pro 2 junior driver as well, believe it or not. It is young Jake Davey, the second of our Davey brothers. He's second in the junior championship, and he's also second in the, let me just see, in the Pro 2 outright, I believe, which I will check for you in a second.
Absolutely, Mike, the young Jake Davey. The driver that's actually injured at the moment. He hurt himself playing GAA, but he's still out there. Dislocated or fractured leg, if I'm correct in saying, but that karting Sylvia is going around there. A very precise driver, well knows how to do a drag of the handbrake there to try to get himself out nice and wide before he crosses the line here. A run definitely to be proud of, Mike.
Yeah, definitely, and driving injured is never easy, especially in Watergrasshill. Might have been a lot easier in Bishop's Court where there's less to do, but you're so busy here in Watergrasshill. There's so much to do. You don't want to be doing it injured, and it's an 81.7 for young Jake Davey, the junior driver who is actually currently in second in the Pro 2 outright class as well as the junior class. So now it is on to the one and only. It is Danny Devine from Naas, County Kildare, the man of the season so far. What a driver. Look at this style. Locks up the front, left foot braking it in over the hill here in Watergrasshill. Tiny bit of a waiver there for it to be super critical, because you know what, we can afford to be super critical on Danny Devine. He's so good, he's so consistent, he's got such aggression. Listen to him sing this 180SX here. Lost this engine as he crossed the line pretty much in the final of round 1, and doesn't spare his backup engine here. He's not sparing it, hitting the limiter with the 2JZ and across the line. Look at this from Danny Devine, looking to take home this Pro 2 championship this year.
Absolutely, Mike, definitely a hard charger, and we can hear the crowd outside clapping for the young Daniel Devine, and his scores come in for a stare. I was saying a bit of a weird number, but his scores has come in.
They were giving him 384.7 there on the live stream, which is a very good score, but
very good
they
score. They
deducted him 300 points then and gave him 84.7. So
that's not a bad score either, Mike.
That's not a bad score. So it's an 84.7 for Danny Devine, which concludes us with the first half of qualifying, as he was our championship leader. Just getting confirmation of what's going on here now exactly.
As far as I can see, Mike, it's Ronan McGrath setting up for his second run of qualifying for himself. Does look like he went a bit too far out going into zone 2, taking the shallower side of it around that first big run here. He's trying to put a big score on the board for himself, so he is sitting on 29, but will it be enough from what he's doing so far, Mike, to get himself into the battle stage of today?
He's going to have to do a lot better than his first one, that's for sure. I think he's doing a lot better than his first one, to be honest, Adam. Ronan McGrath looking a lot better this time around. Just could have come on the throttle a tiny bit earlier there to maintain a nice outside line, but you know what? It's not a bad run from Ronan McGrath. It's a lot better than what we saw previously from him, and he's going to be happy with that one. It's a 67.3.
67.3. Just
or was it 63.7?
63.7.
Yeah,
sorry, Mike,
I got a bit of confusion there.
Inside the top 32 at the moment, so
I
we
gave
will
him,
see battles. But
I gave him 4 points there for style.
On 0, so things could change and he could be brought down that bracket.
Yeah, he's actually currently qualifying, so we are in knockout qualifying now, guys. We are going to be seeing drivers getting knocked out. Nathan Corcoran is in 32nd at the moment, for instance, but he has to run again. But we have to move it on to a man who is at nothing at the moment, though he is a rookie driver. It's James Mahoney. He went off in the Big 5 Series D34, if you remember, on the first run. Went into the gravel around here. Beautiful looking car. I like the purple and gold livery, very classic looking, in the big 4-door BMW with V8 power, if my ears serve me correctly.
Absolutely, Mike, sure is. He keeps telling me to say it's only a 2.5 engine, but it most definitely is nice. You can see that power is making him go around the track. Definitely had some setup issues there in his first qualifying run, but he's worked it out, and James Mahoney is making his way around the track and making it work for himself. Definitely putting a score on the board for himself this time, Mike, and one to be proud of for James Mahoney, the Kerry man himself.
Is he one of the Mahoneys?
Mahoneys.
Is he one of the Mahoneys, as we say back my way? He definitely is one of the Mahoneys, and he's, after putting a score on the board in his rookie championship, it's a 55.7. So 55.7 for James Mahoney, or Mahoney if you're from America listening. As we move it along to Mark Ryan, who was also on a 0 on his first run. Unusually for Mark Ryan, had to shut it down. He's not hanging back, he flicks in the compact onto full angle over the hill here. Beautiful initiation. And remember, guys, he shut it down in the first lap. Turboed this car recently, I believe, and is a long-term competitor at this stage in Pro 2, and a very capable driver, getting the car back out this season. with more power, possibly something that he did need, that's for sure. The little short, compact chassis here, a familiar sight down here in Watergrasshill, and it's a much better lap this time from Mark Ryan as he crosses the line, and full power there. And you know what? I think that's going to be a good score.
Absolutely, Mike, a driver that I see throughout all the practice. I said earlier, putting out some solid lines. He gets a 60.3 on the board for himself. That is Mr. Mark Ryan.
Yeah, that's
score.
30th position for Mark there, so it's a long wait for him. Might not be enough to qualify. Dave Richards is on a 62, currently sitting in 28th position, so he has to improve here. Or I think with all the drivers on a 0, he's going to be going home. It's a nice initiation there from Dave once again. Good friend of mine. Just apexes that corner a tiny bit early and sacrifices 2 as a result. Generally the right idea, but just a little bit early on the apex. Now he's getting everything back together for the centre section here. Loses out a little bit on that zone, but now back on the right line. Has to get the throttle on. Avoids that massive hole on the side of the track just about. Now it's onto the wall here for Dave Richards, dragging a handbrake to just keep the car nice and steady on the wall, and crosses the line, dials on the angle to pick up all of the last zone, and that's a good lap there from Dave Richards. But is it enough to improve, Adam?
I'm not too sure, Mike. He is sitting on a 62 at the moment. It is his first time ever competing, so I'm not too sure. He's a great chase driver from what I've seen down in Kerry.
He has competed in the past in
has he?
different championships. I'm not sure if it's been IDC or IDS, but he definitely did Ultimate Drift down here, or Super Drifts and all that kind of thing.
Back in the day, as
back in the day, exactly. So 67.7 does improve for Dave Richards, drops him into 24th position. Be a long wait for Dave with that one, and that's quite tight. Now next up it is Stefan Wills, who is a Pro 2 driver with a 50.3 on the board so far. Also has to improve or he will be going home.
Absolutely, Mike. Looks like he's updated his livery as well for this weekend. Great looking 180 here. Looks like he was just shallow as of that zone. Looks like he's shallow here as well. The line does not look right for him, Mike. I'm not too sure if he's having car issues or is he just too gripped up around here.
Yeah, I think he's after updating his clutch as well from the way that he's kicking it there in the 180 to get it out there to the outside zones, but just maybe needs a little bit more finesse and a little bit more consistency on the angle there. The style points I think are being bled off there quite a lot from Stefan, unfortunately. He's happy though. He's revving that big 6 there up the front of the 180, and it's consistent scores but not enough. It's a 49.3 for Stefan, so that won't see him qualifying. As we go on to Sam Nolan, also not qualifying currently in 36th position. So Sam Nolan from Wexford has to qualify or has to improve big time here if he wants to qualify. He does have it in his locker though, Adam.
Absolutely, Mike. So he initiates here, big flick in, does look like he's on the right line here. Will he get into zone 2? Unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Lot of understeer there, Mike. I'm not too sure what happened.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened, Adam. It's very easy for it to happen coming down off that first corner. The rear of the car loads up after going light for a second as you initiate. Then as you approach clipping zone 2, the back of the car starts to hunker down into the track, and if you ask the front to do too much, usually the front won't do too much and will understeer. So you have to very much steer from the rear in that first corner here in Watergrasshill. To be honest, you have to use the throttle and the handbrake to maintain your angle. You can't ask the front to do all the work. So unfortunately I think that's what happened there.
Absolutely unfortunate, Mike. Unfortunately, I do think that will be a 0 as well on the board for that second one.
Yep.
I'm not putting him into the battle stage of today, so he'll be calling it unfortunate for himself.
Yeah, about 70-75 drivers I think we have. Well, I can see it here in front of me. In fact, it's 64 drivers we have competing, so half of those drivers will be going home. Saoirse Lee Barrett, Pro 2 rookie driver, she hopes not to be one of those. Maybe a little bit out of legs in this BMW, not the most powerful car on the grid, but you know what, she's out here, she's competing, she's giving it a go, and she is doing it in her own rookie class, so will be scoring points in her own class. And as often with many drivers here, Adam, will improve the engine over time, maybe get a little bit more power, but you know what, she's making it work quite well here. She's not getting many straight-ins. Now right over here is the place that's wow, and she does maintain drift throughout that section. So for this level of horsepower, this is really good going here from Saoirse Lee Barrett, and she'll get a good score on the board as the crowd gives an appreciative round of applause.
Absolutely, Mike. The young Saoirse Lee Barrett, she's only a rookie driver, so first time ever competing, and she is only running a 2.5 engine, but she does manage to make that work and put a score on the board for herself. It's a 42.7 for Saoirse Lee Barrett. It won't be enough to get into battle stages today, but it's definitely one to be proud of for your first ever time.
Yeah, and she's in her own class once again in the rookies. So Peter Rouse, all the way down from way up the country as well, enters a little bit early there once again, kind of hugs the curb around the first corner, so maybe not the wide line that tucks in that the judges want to see, but he did pick up the clip, so you know, a little bit 6 in one, half dozen in the other. Now Peter on a 51 has to put in a big lap here for himself to qualify. Not sure if he's going to qualify with this kind of a lap so far, Adam. It's definitely better.
Definitely better, Mike. Still a bit scrappy though, unfortunately, for Peter Rouse. Now, Carr does look absolutely outstanding as it creates loads of smoke. I'm sure the media team's down there.
Like yourself, Adam. Like yourself.
Put me off what I was about to say, Mike. It's about the drivers here, not about us.
Yeah.
Either way, he gets a score on the
Just
board.
can't
It's
help
a
myself.
55 for Peter Rouse. Unfortunately, that isn't enough. That puts him in the 36th place at the moment on the board, but that isn't enough to get into the top 32 for battles today.
Rightio, so Shawnee B is the man up next. It's Sean Bainbridge, Pro2 rookie with a 14.3 on the first one. Has to improve. Also initiates a little bit early here and cuts himself off in terms of his racing line through that corner essentially. So goes in early and comes out of it early. So not going to suit him here to get into the rest of the zones. You have to get that late apex to get you all the way over that straight basically. So not working out here for Sean, and
spins, unfortunately. Mike, another driver I was actually speaking to in the pits, and he was 100% sure he wasn't going to make it out for qualifying. He did his best and he got out for 2 runs. It isn't enough to get him into battles, but at least he got to go out there and say he gave it everything he could.
Well, you know what, Adam, to be honest, half of the battle, pardon the pun, in competition is getting used to the format and getting the nerves out of the way, being in driver's briefing, you know, being there in the morning, getting through scrutiny, getting through driver's briefing, getting into practice, getting your routine, even knowing when to eat, honestly. So all those things will help with experience and with your, you know, it becomes second nature after a while. You're just at another event. And a man who events are second nature too is Clark Hatton, out on track at the moment. Of course, competed in Formula Drift Pro Spec last year in this car, in the little M2, beautiful BMW, looking better here. Currently on a 65.7, still dialing this car in. It's a new chassis, obviously. There's not an awful lot of experience out there with them as of yet, especially in Ireland. So dialing in this chassis, using this season as a little bit of a sighting lap, so to speak, and as a testing year, and that's a good lap from Clark Hatton.
Absolutely, Mike. The young Clark Hatton, a very determined young driver to put his name out there and get his name out there basically and show that he can do it. He puts a score on the board for himself, Mike, and it's definitely one to be proud of. It's an AC2 for young Clark Hatton. Yeah,
putting Clark way up into 11th position, so we'll be seeing that BMW out here again in battles later on. Now in the drop zone is Colin O'Sullivan from Kerry, who actually has to run again, so he'll get a second bite at the cherry. As we move it along to Jason Gallagher on a 0 from his first run, the beautiful E46. Let's see if he can put in a lap that's as good as his car looks here. Beautiful kind of Millennium Jade, I will call that colour, with the VSKFs on the front. So loving the style of this car, but can he get the style points from the judges, or 3 cranky old men?
Maybe so, Mike, I'm not too sure, but he looks like a solid, very good chance of it here in Watergrasshill for the second qualifying run, getting the line dialed in as best he can. He is sitting on a 0, so anything at this point would be something to him, but we need to get him out of that zone of 57 and up so he can get into the top 32 and compete in battles today. A lot of angle here and a lot of smoke in that beautiful E46. He crosses the line. Yeah, using every horsepower that engine had available to him there, did Jason Gallagher, just foot to floor across the line, and the car labouring. And you know what? He's done very well here, guys. It's a 74.3 for Jason Gallagher, which drops him into 19th position and should see him safe for battle action, I would say, as we move along to Katrina Darren, who's in 28th at the moment with a 65. Goes over to the right hand side of the track, brings it back to the left for initiation. Might have missed the zone a little bit and drops a wheel just outside a small bit there in the first corner and misses clipping zone 2 as a result. She's under pressure here now, Adam, for the rest of the lap because of that high scoring first zone. Absolutely, Mike. She needs to try and make it up, and unfortunately she goes a bit too wide. I did see her do that trial practice, but unfortunately it did not work out for her here in her second qualifying run. Rightio, so Katrina Darren with the supercharged V8. Her husband Matt, of course, campaigning a turbocharged V8, so all the forced induction V8s there in that family as she crosses the line in the little E30 Beamer, and her second score will be dropping in just a second, and it's a 49.3, no improvement for Katja, but she is up there in 28th position, is the Pro2 driver, so no improvement for Katja, but she is still qualifying. Now we move it along to a man who's not qualifying. It's Shane Ward on the line, the man from the west as well, and a sketchy first lap for Shane, still finding his feet in competition drifting.
has done some track days in this car, but maybe not very comfortable as of yet in competition in the Sylvia. But that's not a bad, he said maybe let's not go crazy here, let's not do the big flick entry, let's just get the car. It doesn't work out for Shane. As I was just saying, let's get the car around the track without any mistakes, but unfortunately for Shane, they're just spinning out.
Bit of commentator's curse there again, I'd say so, Mike, but that car does look absolutely outstanding. He's going to get his money's worth out of them tyres anyway. He's going to finish this lap and put a bit of a show on for everyone here at Watergrasshill today. As you said, Mike, this man used to be a media man, so he's well experienced of being at these events and seeing how they're run and how the day goes and what it's like being on the other side of it. But now he's in the driver's seat and he's trying to show what he can do and while having a bit of fun.
Yeah, doing a few hoops.
A few hoops.
A few
rings, lad.
A few rings, lad. Exactly. So Conor Ansbro, another man from the West, as we said on my way, is on the line as he now leaves the line in the beautiful Candy Culture era 180SX. Absolutely wild driver is Conor. Always entertaining. Almost overcooks it on initiation. Has to slow the car down there and has a kind of a correction as a result on initiation that'll hurt them in the eyes of the judges, who are Kieran Hines, of course, our head judge here at IDS and owner of the series, Tom Murphy, and Tomas Falvey, dad of the now very famous Conor Falvey, Drift Masters European Championship competitor, and a very seasoned competitor himself, of course, here in IDC, IDS and Pro Drift even way back in the day. Now Conor Ansbro has, you know what, it's not a terrible lap, it's definitely an improvement on the zero, Adam. Bit of a sketchy entry, but got it together for the second half, so it might be enough to see him down the order in qualifying. No, it's not, it's a 50.
Unfortunately, only put him on a 50. You could definitely see he was struggling with that car a small bit there, Mike, with a lot of corrections, trying to get that car where it needs to be and push it around.
Well, you'd hope that they'd loosen up the cars for the second one. It is dry still, maybe a little bit more tyre pressure, a little bit more shock, a little bit more damping in that car. David Flaherty's on a 51.7, not qualifying and definitely won't be qualifying now. He's a Pro2 rookie driver though, so his 51 from the first lap will see him scoring in his own series, and he is currently in 39th. But he is, he's kind of in the middle of the rookie. Well, he's in the about 2/3 of the way down the rookie driver, so he'd be scoring some points in his rookie championship, which is a great system, to be honest, for bringing in new drivers and young drivers to the rookie and the junior classes. So, very good system for blooding new drivers. As we move it along to Ian Hamilton in the little Corolla that could. This car made it into the top 4 once again at Bishop's Court in the wet until it dried up, and Ryusei Kiba put into its amazing run in the hands of Jack Mahoney. But he's going to have to do it. Ian Hamilton is going to have to do it here with 170 odd brake horsepower in the Corolla here in Watergrasshill. Can he do it, Adam?
We'll have to see. Mike's the second one of qualifying. He does look like he's a bit too deep coming around down the hill here in Watergrasshill in that beautiful A86. Trying to make his way around. Fortunately does straighten up and goes into the gravel a bit there. No, but he saves himself, Mike.
Oh, I don't know, was he 4 wheels off there, as we explained?
Sure either, Mike.
Huge deduction for 3 wheels off, Adam, and a 0 for 4, so I don't know. I'm just enjoying the noise.
Enjoying it. It sounds beautiful.
Just bop bop, that fantastic 4-banger open throttle body noise. It's just the best, isn't it?
You can see the smile on her face. Yeah, making it.
Just straight fours and bodies and wide open throttling, 7,000 RPM, can't beat it. So does Ian Hamilton improve? He doesn't. It's a 0 for Ian Hamilton, I think. So we move it along. Yeah, it is a 0, just confirming. Barry Forrest in the big 4-door R32 or R33, in fact, Skyline. Not a common drift chassis. You usually see the 2 doors, and you actually don't see a whole pile of R33s. We'll have one tomorrow in the hands of Adam, of course, there. But the 4-door here in the hands of Barry Forrest with a 74.3 on his first run. Maybe not looking as good on this one, Adam, but still not looking terrible for sure.
Definitely looks strong in his first qualifying run. I'm not too sure if this looks like it's going to be an improvement, but definitely not a bad one either. And it is some time out on track. He does look like he will be in the battles later on today, but he makes that Skyline go around the track and get some time out there.
Yeah, as we see my good friend there, Richie Keller, posing on the live stream here as Luke Buttimer is on the line. Remember, guys, this is Pro 2, the feeder class as such for Pro tomorrow. Of course, it is its own living, breathing entity. We love the Pro 2 class. Always has thrills and spills, and it's where you get to see the stars of tomorrow come up through. You see all the Shanahans come up through these championships, these classes, the Deans, everyone pretty much that didn't start like way back in the day came through this class and went on to do whatever they went on to do. So Luke Buttimer is a guy who could go on to do something, that's for sure. And he has to improve here because he's on a 60. Oh, but he has a bit of a waver there. I saw very straight wheels at him. He's on a 60.7 at the moment, which sees him in 20 or 30th position actually. So I don't know, Adam, that was the angle. We're watching that initiation on live stream there, the angle of the drone. The judges, of course, have 3-4 cameras on that corner, but we're looking at the live stream here. It looked like a correction to me, but it's a better second half of the lap, definitely, from Luke.
Definitely a better second half, Mike. As you said, this is a very simply set up car and he wants to show a point, but doesn't look like he's going to do an improvement on his 60.7 at the moment because of that straighten on the first corner.
Yeah, consistent scores there for Luke, but it's a 57 on the second one for Luke Butler, 57 for the Pro 2 driver, doing his leaving cert at the moment, so maybe other things on his mind, or maybe not.
Trying to get better points somewhere else, Mike.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Nathan Walsh in the little MX-5 with all the horsepower. Listen to this V8 turbo power, as if that car needs a big engine in the first place, but you know what? Why not? Misses zone 2 there. Nice initiation, but totally wide on zone 2, so a big mistake there from Nathan Walsh already. And the Celtic Custom self-built MX-5, beautiful work of art as well, guys. This car, if you ever get the chance in the pits, go over and see this car and ask him to pop the hood, man, and check out the engine bay in this thing. It's absolutely crazy to see that engine in this car. You know what? That's a great second half of the lap from Nathan. Pity about the mistake on the first corner at him, because I think he was on for a big score otherwise.
Definitely, Mike. I'm not too sure what way the judges will take down, if there will be an improvement on his last score or not. It's definitely a great looking car, as you were saying. It's such a big engine, such a small car, and his score has dropped, Mike. His score is in. It's an 80.3 for Nathan Walsh in the MX-5, or the Miata, as the Americans would say.
Miata. Wow. So Jason Morren is up next. Nathan Walsh will see battle action. Jason Morren on a 0 on the first lap. He had clutch issues coming into this weekend. Himself and the guys, I know they must have pulled a very late one Thursday night in order to get this car running and be here for practice on Friday. It looks like he's having no clutch issues here now. The car is definitely going like the clappers here. The ex-Gary Dunn, I believe, car. Jason here now looking a lot better from the 0 than the 0 on the first one. Very wide there, throws up a little bit of earth, but you know what, Adam? I think with the impact that he has, okay, it's not perfect, but it might be enough to just qualify.
Might just be, Mike. Might just be. He is sitting on a 0 at the moment, so any score on the board, which most definitely will be something for him to look forward to. Is that beautiful Sylvia in the red colour and the strong wheels underneath. It looks stunning.
Yeah.
Either way, he gets a score down, Mike, and his second qualifying run is in and it's a 70.
Yeah, 7-0 for Jason there, putting him into 26th position. Luke Butler now is in the drop zone in 32nd after doing his second lap, so he'll be doing well to stay on until the end of qualifying. As we move it along to Matas Karaitis, the Pro 2 rookie, on a 76 after the first one, Adam.
Absolutely, Mike. You can see him pushing that car around here and creating loads of smoke. Looks like he's all the power and exactly what he needs here in the dry in Watergrasshill. Taking the wide line. Is it going to be too wide, Mike? No, it isn't. He does it perfectly and gets right into the zones. He comes up here in the hill, dropping just a bit wide there for that zone and throwing some dirt up in the air up on top of our media teams here. But he's going to push into the wall a bit too much. He does it lovely. And he's coming around here for the finish of his second qualifying run.
Well, you know what? He's in 8th currently in the rookie championship. I'm just looking at our scores live here. He's currently the 3rd rookie. The rookie's not actually going great today. The top rookie is currently Nathan Walsh, actually, followed by Bartek Blazejewski, and then it's Matas Karaitis, who does improve with a 77.7, so that puts him into 16th position, and he's the 3rd rookie, so he'll be happy with that one. Now Paul Dempsey in the SR20 AE86 is on a 0 on the Lucky Day competitions. One of our title sponsors, of course. AE86, always a tough car to drive, this one. It's got a Sylvia front, a Sylvia rear, I believe, and requires a lot of setup, this car, and a lot of nursing around the track, but when it works, it's very fast. Misses that zone there. I don't know which one it is, Adam. There's 40 zones on this track. Is it it's number 6, is it? 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it's one of the zones anyway, and he misses it. So, rubs the bumper off the wall. Paul Dempsey, but with a better lap this time, a big improvement, I would say, Adam.
Absolutely, Mike. He'll definitely get a score on the board for himself here in that Lucky Days AE86. Beautiful looking car, so it is, Mike.
Clip 6 it was.
Clip 6. Oh, you just looked it up.
I looked it up.
We count. There's so many of them. He does put a score on the board for himself, Mike. It's 69.7 for Paul Dempsey.
Indeed, Paul Dempsey goes into 27th position. It's going to be a long wait for Paul Dempsey as we move it along
to Kieran Lynch.
It's Kieran
a
Lynch,
man
yeah.
who didn't do his first qualifying run, but he is out here to do his second one. Thankfully, he makes it. And he looks like he's giving it everything, Mike. He's playing it safe, but he's sending it with full commitment to put a score on the board for himself.
Yeah, one of the characters of the grid is Kieran Lynch, the self-sponsored Lynch scaffolding. Making the huge trip here from about 10 minutes away. I believe he's around Carrick Navarre here in Cork. So huge trip here for Kieran Lynch as the car's dying down a little bit. Maybe he could drop a gear there, drop a gear and disappear, as they say. But you know what? Dials on a lot of angle, but makes it work. I thought he was dialing on a lot of angle there. Does a rolling burnout after the line, and Kieran Lynch, one, to get it done, manages to get a score on the board. And I think it's not going to be a bad score for Kieran Lynch either. He's going to be happy with that one. A local to this track and knows this track intimately, of course. And it's an 82 for Kieran Lynch. He'll be over the moon with that one after one lap, and that drops Kieran Lynch way up the order into 12th position as we go along now. It is Francie Hines on a 58.7, currently not qualifying at him.
Not qualifying at the moment, but he's making the last of that clutch work for himself. As he told me throughout the week end that he has some issues with it, but he's making it work for himself. A lot stronger of a run, what it looks like so far here, Mike. Hopefully he gets across the line and makes himself way into the battle stages of today. He's pushing around, doing a very solid line for himself, Mike, and he's making it work, so he is.
Well, there's no clutch slip happening here, Adam, that's for sure. It sounds like that SR20 is putting all the power down through the tyres, that's for sure, which is a good start.
Definitely a man that looks very comfortable in his car this year and putting some solid scores on the board. Francie Hine makes it across the line for his second qualifying run. I'd definitely say that's going to be a bit of an improvement from his first qualifying run on 58.7, Mike.
Yeah, I would say so, and like I say, it's a big improvement. It's an
Huge
83 for Francis Hines, and I give him 10 points as well for an S13 still 80, so that's actually 93 for me.
Now that Francie has such a strong score on the board, Mike, I can say this. He said to me, if I don't qualify today, it's okay. I can blame the car, but now he can't. He got it in through there himself in an 83.
Yeah, and he's the top rookie as well. Francie Hines goes into the lead in the rookie class, I can announce now. Owen McGee, the crazy man, outside the car and inside the car as well. Tiny waver there, but picks up the zones pretty well. Absolutely nuts driver here. Look at this from Owen McGee. Watch this. He's absolutely crazy, Adam. Anything could happen with Owen McGee, but he's always entertaining, isn't he?
Definitely, Mike. A man is throwing on loads of angle inside that car. A wild driver, as you said. He's sitting on a 65.3 at the moment. Is going to be an improvement for him on his second qualifying run.
Well, it looks like it is going to be, that's for sure. He's on a 65, but it was a bit scrappy, dropping wheels. Just while we're waiting for the score, Jamie Hines is leading the junior class, followed by Jake McElveen, followed by Stefan Mooney, followed by Jake Davey. So that's your top four juniors. In rookie, it is Francis Hines leading, Nathan Walsh in second, Mattis Croitis in third, and Bartik Blazjetski in fourth so far. So what did we have for Owen McGee?
79.5 as far as I can remember, Mike.
79.5, which drops Owen McGee 79.7 even, dropping Owen McGee into 17th, meaning Dave Richards is now in the drop zone in 32nd position. Molly Kerr is above him, so he'll be safe, but she's only just above him. She's in 31st position, so Molly Kerr, if she wants to qualify, has to improve here. Nice initiation, but does sacrifice outer zone, or inner zone 2 there, sorry. Not a whole pile of angle. The 350Z, of course, with the naturally aspirated V6 engine. Not the most powerful car on the grid, a difficult one for this Watergrasshill track, just like the naturally aspirated BMWs are.
Definitely, Michael Tracy, that everyone's complimenting a lot and using as their practice cars nowadays. We can see the top dogs such as Shanahan's Dean and so on using these cars as their practice cars, and Molly Kerr is here using it as her main car.
Yeah, they're just so much fun.
And she's making it work. They're a great little car. I actually had one myself before, and there's lots of power in them, especially for a stock engine.
Well, yeah, they're so much fun. They are a little bit out of power for the for you know, when you're dialing the grip in, but Molly Kerr doesn't care about that because she's just scored a 78.3 for Molly Kerr in the 350, putting her into 19th position. So that's a big score there for Molly Kerr. Now a man under all kinds of pressure will be here commentating for the Pro class tomorrow. It is the one and only Power in the Tower. He's the power on the track right now. It is Eddie Power in the 180SX, the beautifully turned out yellow 180SX there. Nice initiation from Eddie, nothing too wild. Does miss zone 2, so he's already after bleeding a lot of points here, Adam. He's after bleeding at least 10 points just on that zone, if not more. But you know what? Second half of the lap looking good. He shut it down around here on the last lap. Just keeping it nice and tidy there around 7 and 8. 9. Yeah, Eddie is on for a qualifier here, I think, Adam. Just about, maybe. and picks up zone 10, puts the car right on the edge of the track across 10. That's a lot better for Eddie. Definitely better than a 0 anyway.
Absolutely, Mike. Despite missing zone 2, is definitely a huge improvement on his first run.
It
The
is.
score is in, and it's definitely one that Eddie Power is going to be proud of. It's a 76.7, putting him into battles, as far as I know, Mike. It is. It's put him into 23rd position.
Let's not say anything yet. It could be tight, but yes.
Could be.
Which knocks Dave Richards out of competition. Now Paul Dempsey, Paulie D, is in the drop zone in 32nd position. David Ford is currently barely safe in 30th position. So flicks in the big skyline here. He has to improve, Adam, because we still have a lot of scores that are underneath David Ford, and being in 30th is a dangerous place to be honest. And did sacrifice 2 there as well, as far as I could see.
Unfortunately, does he push that skyline around the track? Sounds absolutely stunning from what I can hear up from the judging commentary tower in Watergrasshill. It's still dry out there, as you can see loads of smoke flying into the air. Sorry, when I say flying, I meant the mud that he was trying up in there.
Yeah.
Not the smoke that's bursting into the air. So
Hear the Wuhan war whistle there of the turbo on that, an eBay turbo on that 1UZ.
Does the job though, Mike? Does
Absolutely it does, yeah. You can hear it spooling up there, the big V8 getting it going. And it's a 74 for David Ford. It is an improvement, putting him into 27, so a little bit safer there for David Ford. Doesn't affect the drop zone. Paul Dempsey is still down there. And David Ford puts himself a little bit safer at the expense of the likes of Callum Coogan there, Niall Houston and Andrew Kinna, who are yet to run. Now we move it along. We're absolutely flying through it here. It's Dean Shields out on the track, I believe. It is indeed, on a 0 from the last one. So Dean Shields there with a couple of cooling issues. Remember, he shut it down here on the last run, seemed to miss a gear or something. No such problem this time. Not sure what happened, to be honest. Just speculating. Oh, but overcooks it. Oh, he can still keep it going. Is it opposite drift? Is it a 0? It might not be a qualifier, Adam. It's a big mistake and uncharacteristic.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, Mike. He shuts it down again, so he does.
Yeah, there's car problems here. Dean Shields is way more consistent than that. We've seen him driving many times. He's well able to put in a qualifier here, and just looks like there was a couple of car issues there.
Absolutely. It's such a shame when we see such capable drivers making their way into battles and definitely getting up higher in the championship, just being knocked down by their car issues, unfortunately. But we're moving on to the young Kerry man, a man that was doing his leaving start yesterday, didn't make practice, but he's not going to let that hold him back. He's sitting on a 57.7 at the moment, his first qualifying
Well,
run.
it might hold him back, Adam, because he's not qualifying right now.
True, Mike, but I'm sure he's a lot more concerned about these points than he is in the leaving cert, from what I know of the young man. Either way, his full commitment here is he's going to send it in for his second qualifying one. Lots of angle making it into zone 2. Is he going to make it in? He does, Mike. Lovely and deep inside there. He did take the inside curve, as you said, but he's making his way down the back straight here in Watergrasshill. Bit of a drag there of the hard brake, trying to get the outside line. He is hitting all the zones, is what judges want to see, but is he doing it the right way? Is he fluid enough? Is he making it what it needs to be? Lots of angle there. The young Colin O'Sullivan, the Kerry man, making it work for himself, tapping the back bumper off that wall. Mike, this looks like a very solid run, and I do think it could be enough, just maybe to get him into qualifying.
Yeah, well, Colin likes it there. 360 across the line, guys. Big round of applause for Colin O'Sullivan as he crosses the line there. Does a 360 for us here in Watergrasshill and does improve. It's a 79.3 for Colin O'Sullivan, putting him safe for battle action in 19th position at the expense of Paul Dempsey, who drops out of competition. Now Jason Morren, who got that car going for this weekend, is in 32nd position with a 70. So 70 is the cutoff zone currently. Niall Houston is safe just about with a 73 in 29th position, so he has to improve once again if he feels that or if he wants to be safe. Also, guys, the higher you qualify, the theoretical easier battle you have for the top 32, because you face off against a lower qualifying driver. So first goes against 32nd, etc., as we always explain, giving you at least a theoretical easier battle. It doesn't always work that way, but that's the idea. And also you can get 11 championship points for winning qualifying. There were 100 available for an event win, so the qualifying is a hugely important part of this championship, not only for the rookie and the juniors, but also for the Pro 2 guys. Now Niall Houston, once again, Pro 2 rookie driver, he has to improve here big time, Adam, if he wants to be in the battle.
A rookie driver driving very much pro-spec car, Mike. Looks absolutely stunning to push around here.
Oh, shuts it
down for zone 6 or 7 there. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, sure, nobody knows.
We've lost count to this point. Either way, not too sure what happened there. I wasn't sure if it was a mechanical issue, setup issue, or what, because he's straight back at it and he's trying to get a score on the board for that. But I don't think it will be, Mike. I think it will be a 0, unfortunately, because he shut it down just a bit.
Thought you were going to say something else there, Adam, but
almost did.
Almost did. But it's a 0 for Niall, I think, on the second one there. Definitely not going to be an improvement anyway. So he's on a 73. Long wait now for Niall Houston, who sits equal with Callum Coogan in 30th position, but Callum Coogan still to run. Now Ollie Cassidy also on a 0. Pro 2 rookie driver is now initiating here, and let's see what Ollie can do in the rookie class.
Just a bit too on the outside line.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I just held my breath there while he got the car to hook up after initiating, but you know what, big mistake there, and he's not picking up the clipping points here as the judges want. Kieran Hines, of course, the head judge of many drift series around the world, to be honest, especially in Ireland and the Middle East. Tom Murphy, the man behind Crazy Lap Creations, and a former pro driver, and Tomas Falvey, also a former pro driver, and the dad of Conor Falvey, our 3 judges today.
Absolutely, Mike. The decision's always down to them, and there's a reason it is because these guys have lots of experience and really dialed in on what they're going to do, and they do that, and they give a score there. It's a 61, Mike.
Yeah, 61 doesn't see Ollie into battle action. That's 37th for him. Alan Connaughty is safe in battle action. Once again, will want to improve because he might pick up a few more championship points. He's well up there in 6th position at the moment in the 11-0 S14 Zinky.
Absolutely a stunning looking car, Mike, and a great driver as well, a great character around the pits. Everyone, I'm sure, is known him or had a conversation at some point to know he's a great character and always up for the chat. Either way, he's making it work here for himself on a second qualifying one. Oh, unfortunately, Mike just spins there before he comes up.
Does he pick up a cone?
I think he's taking it with him, Mike.
Is he taking it with him?
Now.
I think.
Left out in the middle of the
Did he
track.
leave it out? Yeah,
I
thought the rear tyre sucked it in under the chassis there, but Alan Connaughty, it's okay for him. You know what? You might as well go for it, Adam. You're on a 0, or you're on a 0, the opposite. You're on a good score, sorry, and you might as well just push the boat out and go for the big run. It doesn't always work out.
Definitely.
Though. Matt
Darren.
Darren.
That will always push the boat here.
Matthias. Yeah, just Matt.
Matt Darren.
Matt Darren.
Great driver that always pushes the boat out. Sitting on an 84 at the moment. Top qualifying in round 2. And will he do the same here in round 3 in Watergrasshill?
Yeah, always a good one to watch at Watergrasshill. Very experienced on this track. Actually battled his wife in the Pro 2 final here. Was it last year, the year before? I can't remember now, but it was in the torrential rain, and got taken down by his own wife, which I will never let him forget. But I'll always be nice to him because he's quite a big guy. So
such a gentleman thing to do, Mike.
Yeah, Matt Darren, top driver, top guy, and he's on a top score at the moment with an 84. Looking to improve. It's, you know what? It's a good lap, but it's a little bit lacking fluidity for my liking. The style points are just maybe not going to be great. It's a consistent, though. It's an 83.7 for Matt Darren. Very consistent scores, which always, Adam, as we always say, it's dangerous for the battles. If a guy is putting in consistent scores, it's usually a good sign for battle action because he's quite comfortable with what he's doing. Stuart Gordon is currently not qualifying. The Pro 2 driver who is looking to make his way up this championship, that's for sure. It's a big entry there from Stuart, and he does pick up zone 2, the most of it at least anyway. Picks up 3 on the way, transitions it back to 4. Now does he get a flick back? Maybe a little bit early on the handbrake, and possibly handbrake before transition there, or slowed the car at least. Just doing the safe thing. Probably knew that he's on a good line so far, Adam. Not wanting to risk a spin or whatever coming into the hairpin, so did a safe transition. Picks up the rest of the zones as he goes along.
Absolutely, Mike. It looks like a man who wants to make his way into the battle stages of today. He was sitting on a 25.7, but it's most definitely going to be an improvement for him, and it is a huge one, in fact, Mike. It's an 82.7
yeah.
for Stuart Gordon. Big
lap there, pushing Jason Morren out into 33rd. Andrew Kinna, who has yet to run for his second lap, now in 32nd position. So a great lap there. Cian Leahy is now making his way up the track. It's a 42.7 on the first lap for the Mill Street man. Flicks it in, went a bit early here the last time. Now he's after, he washes down the hill a small bit. Is there debris on track there?
Not too sure, Mike. Could have been someone's bumper or rear bumper, I'm not too sure, but either way he dodges it and makes it work, and he gets around here for another zone and pushes his way around. Cian Leahy, the man that was having a few car issues throughout practice, makes changes and gets a fix as best as he can. Pushes up against the wall here in that king of the road E46. Cian Leahy's score is just about to drop in for us there, and will it be an improvement? It will. Be a 65.3 for Cian Leahy. Definitely one he'll be proud of to say he got on the board after having some car issues, but unfortunately will not be putting him into the battle stages of today.
Yep, so that's that is Cian Leahy. 36th position for Cian. No joy for Cian today, Pro 2 outright, so no rookie or junior class to be scoring in. Now Nathan Corcoran is sitting, where is he? He's on a 57. Fastest car in the grid, 42nd position though here, and he is a Pro 2 driver, so once again has to improve here, Adam, or he is just going home with no points.
Definitely, Mike, a man that loves his car and loves putting time and effort in to make it as powerful, strong and set up correctly as much as he can. And you can see that he's out here with full commitment now to try and put a score higher up on that board to get himself into the battle stages of today. Nathan Corcoran pushing that BMW E46 around the track as he flicks his left in up the hill here in Watergrasshill.
Yeah, this is much better from Nathan Corcoran. This is a fantastic lap, guys. This is going to be a huge score if he keeps it together. Maybe could have been a tiny bit out wider there between 4 and 5, but apart from that, or 5 and 6, sorry. Yeah, that's a great lap from Nathan. He's going to be delighted. Maybe could have been a tiny bit wider after between 5 and 6, and yeah, the judge is seeing that too. So an 83.3 under pressure from Nathan Corcoran. All the money that he's put into this car all the time, and you know what? You're going to put pressure on yourself to qualify in those circumstances, and he is doing well.
Moving on to a good friend of yours next is Mr. Ian Patterson.
Yeah.
His BMW E30. He has had a few car issues over the last few rounds, but has he got them fixed and sorted for himself? It's a 0 he's sitting on for at the moment, Mike.
Well, you know what? We ask all the drivers to send us qualifying notes, so we have a bit of info on them. On Ian Patterson's age, he just sent me 3 question marks. So he doesn't. I don't think he wants people to know his age. He might have forgotten. He might be that old. But we're going to know his qualifying score in about 20 seconds' time as he pedals the little Group D E30 with big flick transition there for me. The E30 with turbo 1UZ. Power 550 brake horsepower on semi-slick tired 15-inch wheels. That is crazy. 15s, 550 brake, and about 1,000,000 foot-pounds of torque. Crazy stuff. And it's a 63.7 for Ian Patterson, and that is just not enough for battle action. That puts him into 40th position. So that is Ian going home, unfortunately. As we move it along to Callum Coogan, who is sitting, believe it or not, guys, in 32nd position after that really good first lap that we saw him put in. But you know, maybe it was a little bit too safe, Adam. Maybe the judges wanted to see a little bit more flair, a little bit more commitment, a little bit more impact. He tried it there on the initiation and it pushed him wide. He could be in trouble here. He's in 32nd, Adam. He has to improve.
Definitely, Mike. He missed zone 2 and zone 4 there on his second one. He's putting it right up close and tight to that wall, trying to maybe leave a bit of a mark on it, a bit of a war wound to remember his day here on Watergrasshill, because he is sitting in 32nd position, as you said, and could he hold on there much longer? I'm not too sure, Mike. We have a lot of drivers to go yet.
Yeah, we do indeed. So thanks for the comments there, Sure Shots Ace, trying to explain what Adam almost said there on the live stream by accident. So possibly that's what he was saying. No, guys, on the line, what was the score that we called? Callum's score? He didn't improve. Yeah, 57, so doesn't improve. Callum Coogan in 32nd. Now, guys, keep an eye on this one. It is young Jamie Hines from Galway, currently leading the junior class, currently 4th overall in Pro 2 on an 85.7 in the S14 with 1 JZ power, I believe.
Sure is, Mike. The young 16-year-old Jamie Hines, a great character, full of life, and definitely not fearful of heading out on track and putting that car and doing what it needs to do. Out in his last run, he topped the qualifying table at that time with his score of an 85.7, but drivers have topped that and pushed him down on the board now. But is he going to come back out and do the same thing again? Is he going to put a high enough score to get on top?
Declan Byrne is leading qualifying. We saw the style from Declan. He hit the clips as well. He had it all, really. He had the angle, he had the impact, but he had the line. So Jamie is going to have to do exactly that, plus a little bit with it, maybe with a bit of wildness with it, controlled wildness if he wants to top qualifying. But I think he does have it in his locker. It might be a hard ask in order to get well up into the 90s to beat Declan Byrne, but he's looking good so far. Maybe not as wide as he could be around 1 if you'd want to top qualifying, but pretty much on the right line. Now drags the handbrake here, just a tiny bit shallow there, does get the whole clipping point, was not on the outside line all the way. It's still a really good lap here from Jamie.
Absolutely, Mike. You'd nearly expect high scores off Jamie Hines at this stage for such a young driver. He's so consistent with putting great runs down and really being fluid with everything he does. and if he gets across the line here, I'm not too sure will it be an improvement on his first run. We can hear the crowd cheering here for young Jamie Hines.
Yeah, the official Jamie Hines fan club.
Absolutely. Must get one of them t-shirts myself, Mike.
Yeah, the official fan club there in presence here at Watergrasshill. It's a 71.3 for Jamie. Trying a little bit harder, it works out sometimes, it doesn't others. So great score already from Jamie Hines, currently leading the juniors. As we move it along to Marcus Heinen, the man from Ballincollig. Once again, guys, just up the road from here in Watergrasshill. So well used to this track. Look at the flick entry. Does it work? Does he hold it? He does just about. Maybe a correction there, but almost held the backwards entry there from Marcus Heinen. On a 77 so far, so he's safe for battle action, really pushing things here in the second run in order to try to top qualifying. Not sure if he's going to gain a whole pile of points for that entry because there was a correction, but the judges will like that commitment, and it's perfect line here from Marcus Heinen as he picks up zone 9 right on the wall. Could be a tiny bit wider, but overall not a bad lap, and across the line picking up 10. Great lap there from Marcus Heinen.
Definitely, Michael, definitely pick up some style points for that backwards entry and keeping it on his.
You know what, Adam? Right here in the tower, you'll know this voice, guys.
Who
Eddie,
is it,
Eddie
Mike?
Power. Eddie, you're sitting in 26th position. Tell us how you're feeling. You're not going to tell us how you're feeling. He's like, oh, there's a run on.
Either way,
after
Mike,
the run, we'll go after the run.
Afterwards. We're not going to.
We'll have to tell Sean
Byrne.
Healy.
He will be missing his second run. We're going to move on.
Declan Byrne is not getting a second run.
Yes,
Okay, so he's
Bartek.
bless jet ski.
Thanks for pronouncing that. I missed it. It's SD Arrows.
Bart, just call him Bart.
Bartek. He's doing a great run there. He missed zone 2, but he's pushing around here. Still trying to get a high score for.
Look at the angle.
Lots of angle there, Mike.
Yeah, just caught him out a little bit. Lots of angle, but it actually made him go shy then of zone 17. 5, but you know what, it's a good lap once again from Barty B here, and we're loving the style. He's well up there in his rookie championship, and he's well up in the rookie standings today, I believe. Where is he sitting? He's he's above 4th in the rookies, 5th possibly. So does he improve? It's not an improvement. It's his 68.7. So Eddie, how are you feeling? You're sitting in 26th.
Yeah, actually delighted with it, Mike, to be honest. Pulled it out of the bag, but good friend of mine now sitting on the line, Andy Kenner, on 72, so he's looking to move himself up the order, move it into the order as well. He's sitting in 33rd, but definitely has shown signs this weekend that he has what it takes to put in the big run when it counts. This entry, Mike, it's so tricky, really, really hard to get that second zone, but Andy doing a really nice job, and I think if he can finish this one off, he could be pushing himself right up the order and maybe putting me further down the order. So it's it's always interesting watching on these runs, and you know, particularly when you're in the mix yourself, you're rooting for other people, but you're also not wanting them to do too well and drop you down the order. So it's going to be tight, but this looking like a really nice run from Andy Kenna. I think he's going to finish it off. Just shies up on that final clip, gets it across the line. I think that should be a good enough score for Andy to get into the show.
What a man, guys. Let's hear it for Eddie Powers, fresh in his race suit, calling the run, double jobbing today as a driver and a commentator. And Andy Kinna, and Eddie, you're right, it's an 80.7 for Andy Kinna. You swear you did it before, Eddie.
Yeah, and he puts me down the order as well, so now I've I've a little bit less of a cushion, but yeah, great to see Andy moving up the order.
Exactly. Thank you, Eddie. We'll see you tomorrow, and
I'll go
hopefully
make tea
later
there,
for
Mike.
battle action as well.
I'll go make us a cup of tea. We leave Eddie at it, I'd say.
Yeah, we could have the tea. Eddie's in 27th now after Andy Kinna, so what a man. Comes up and commentates there after his qualifying, came up to see where he was, and got caught for a job, of course. Now Alex Butler, remember, had that issue. Was it a half shaft? The car seemed to be spinning the right hand rear wheel and not going anywhere, so I'm not sure what happened. Was it a transmission issue? The guys have got him back out. Keith and the guys there have got him back out, and hopefully that car is a little bit healthier than his first run, because Alex Butler is way up there in the junior class, and I'll actually tell you exactly where he is because I have it here in my phone.
Just while we're waiting,
He's leading the junior class here, so this could have massive championship ramifications. There's 20 points for a win. He's on 39, so he had a first and second. I mean, he has to get a score on the board here, to be honest, if he wants to take this junior championship.
Absolutely, especially if he wants to get his name up there. And we are going to start off the second qualifying run here. Hopefully they fix all issues with the car. You can see he's pushing full speed, coming down the straight here in Watergrasshill. Huge flick into initiation for zone 1, and he's making his way into zone 2. As you can see, D-Cell's car just a small bit, making it work. Loads of smoke off the back of that BMW. I kept saying JC in the last round, but I think I was wrong, Mike. He's getting the outside line here on the second qualifying run. This is where it just messed up for him last time, so hopefully all goes well and he's getting through it. Yes, he does, Mike. He gets around around, still holding a very solid line for the young Alex Butler. It's one he should be proud of. He's about to get across the line and put a score on the board for himself. He does, Mike. He's going to do exactly what you said and try to go fight for that championship.
Yeah, happy for Alex Butler there, because he's well up there in the juniors, leading it in fact. And you know what? He's well up there in the Pro 2s, guys. Alex Butler goes joint second in qualifying with an 89.7. What a run. They got the car going, and you know what? Was that ever worth it? And as a result, also goes into the lead in the juniors. So
what a huge score.
What a run.
Board, Mike. What a huge score.
Oh, what a run. Delighted for him, to be honest. And
move on to our next driver is Justin Murphy in the E36.
yeah, remember Justin Murphy here, very consistent driver. 48 in the first run, so a very un-Justin Murphy-like score. And I always equate him to I'm into the road racing, the bikes as well. There's an ex-TT rider there called Bruce Anstey. If he got out of the right side of the bed, he'd win. If he didn't, you know what? Anything could happen. He could be down the field. Justin Murphy, I feel, is the same. If he decides to put it on in the event and decides to get out the right side of the bed, never write him off. And he's definitely looking like he got out of the right side of the bed this morning with that second run.
Definitely, Mike, such a fluid run. I couldn't actually even see any flaws there as we wait for our judges to drop in a score, and the score does come in. It's an 82.3 for Justin Murphy, a huge improvement from his first run.
And that knocks David Ford out of competition. So just recently we've lost Jason Morren, Callum Coogan, Niall Houston and David Ford. So Barry Forrest is now sitting in 32nd position with a 74.3. The drop zone becoming more recognisable now in the mid-70s. Conor Duggan is currently in 4th position in Pro 2. In the V8 CDM Sport, drops a little bit wide there around 3, but the V8 CDM Sport E46 BMW, of course, one of the series sponsors here in IDS. Maybe a little bit shallow there after 4 in towards 5. Adam, not a perfect line here from Conor, but I think he did find the silencer eventually.
I think he did, because I can hear myself thinking this time as he passes his way around the track. CDM Sport, sponsored and owned by himself and a sponsor of the season this year. Conor Duggan, a very strong and hard-charging driver. I'm not too sure will that be an improvement on the score. He already does have a great score of 86 down. He has had some car issues over the past couple of rounds, but he's made it work for himself. His score has dropped in. It's an 82.7. Not an improvement on his score, Mike, but he's still safe with an 86.
Yeah, it's consistent at least. Now Barry Forrest is going to be pretty scared here, because Ryan Nelly, if this car was on its roof yesterday, I think you can even, if you look at the live stream, I think you can even possibly, I might be wrong, but you can possibly see the roof line of that car. Not quite perfect. Definitely not as it came out of the factory anyway from Nissan all those years ago.
Definitely, Mike. Will they turn things around? They excused the pun and got it
look at the roof line of that, the windscreen there, crazy. So the old porta pores might have been out, and the car was scrutineered and deemed to be safe. The cage still good, doing its job. Ryan Nelly's on a 0. Barry Forrest sits in 32nd position. Ryan Nelly will be watched on by his dad John and all the guys here very much. John, his dad, used to race motorbikes, actually, speaking of which, in Mondello and in the UK. Oh, Ryan just dials on too much angle there, and you know, I'm going to say it, Adam, I think that car might not be dead right.
Exactly, Mike. There was a few issues, I'd say, after the bit of an accident he had yesterday, but he's definitely got something to be proud of. He went back out there for a young fella. He went out there, no fear, still sent it as much as he could for himself and tried putting a score down the board. He has shut it down here in the middle of the track, Mike. So
he does.
Yeah,
possibly. I mean, he's up there in the Pro 2 Championship. He's well up there, actually, but you know, if a car goes on its roof like that, it's not just done it easily. I didn't see the crash, but it will have dug in somewhere. Obviously one of the wheels will have dug in, if not two will have properly hit something and sinted on the roof. So possibly something still slightly bent underneath that car, and it might need to go on the lift and just get some parts replaced, or you know, hopefully the chassis is quite straight, but I'm not sure if any S13 is straight, to be honest, but hopefully the chassis is okay, and it's just a case of something easily replaceable being slightly out of kilter in that car, and that the Nellies will get that car absolutely healthy and pointing all in the right direction once again for round 4, which is in Bishop's Court.
Absolutely.
Once again,
we're going back up to north, so we are.
We are at the start of August, and It's actually falling on the same weekend as the classic motorbike show on the race circuit, which is just a mile over the road pretty much. So if you're into both, you can definitely make a weekend of it. Maybe head to the race circuit on the Saturday and head down to the airfield to Austin on the Sunday for pro action, and make a weekend of it there in County Down.
May as well, Mike, we're making the trip up to down, you know.
Up to Down is right.
Up to down.
Yeah, so
Just got word in there as well, Mike. Ryan Alley shut it down because his throttle body was actually stuck open, so that could have been an issue he was having out on track and why it wasn't going so well for the way he wanted things to go. But the car's still in one piece. Somewhat, it was driving. Things went all right for him. He's safe. The team is still together. A very strong and passionate team with the family around him, and hopefully we'll be back out again next round stronger than ever.
Yeah, unfortunately there we'll be robbed of seeing Ryan Nally in battle action. Always an exciting one in the chase there, but we won't get to see that this round because he hasn't qualified. But Stefan Mooney is a man qualifying. He's on an 82 at the moment, in 18th position. Looks very consistent in the S14. Beautiful sounds there. Maybe just apexed it a tiny bit early if we're going to be super picky, but you know what? It's still on the right. Still the right idea. I think he's still on. He still was on the 90s at that point. Maybe he's bleeding it down now into the high 80s at this stage. The judges will start every driver at 100, and they have an electronic system for deducting points as the run goes on. They press buttons and it deducts points as the run goes on, and they will have deducted a lot of points right there at the end because he backed out of it, almost straightened up and reinitiated, and that'll be a huge deduction at the end there, almost 15 points I would say.
I can imagine so, Mike, from what I heard in briefing. But he should be safe. He's sitting on 82 at the moment. He does not improve. His score has come in there to 68.7 for the man himself. But he should be seeing battle action later on this evening. Either way, we're going to move on to another man, Andrew Malloy, in probably my favourite looking car on the grid this weekend. That beautiful E36 in a very vibrant red colour and black top. Sends it in down the hill here in Watergrasshill, taking the inside curve, as you keep saying, Mike, for his line, getting all the zones, but he's making it work. Big flick down the back straight, getting into zone 6 if that's the correct zone, and making his way into zone 7. This looks very strong so far, Mike.
Yeah, always liking Andrew Malloy's driving. Always the right idea. Himself and Peter not wanting to build these turbo monsters. They say we can do it with naturally aspirated engines that the guys in Bavaria sent these out of the factory with, and as the Germans intended. And you know what? He's pretty much proving it, I think, and that's a score of 81, which is consistent. Doesn't seem improving, but he's way up there in like 9th position. So Ericus Nevitskaz is just above him in 6th position. In another BMW, another Bavarian battler.
Not a very strong hard charger, so he is, Mike, sitting on 85.3. Huge speed coming into that first entry and getting through both zones, getting zone 2 perfectly, and a lot of speed for the back straight here, so he can get it. He's now into decel zone, so you can see him slowing down the car in that very stylish BMW E46. So you said looking very much like a Japanese influenced style, ego driven written on the side of it. But Eric Nevskaz definitely driven very, very well himself. Sitting on 85.3 in his first qualifying run. Will he improve for the second one here, Mike?
Yeah, 8th in the championship so far. Deciding, I think he might have had the option of going up to Pro, but deciding to stay down in the Pro 2 class this year. When I say stay down, just stay in the Pro 2 class because it's equally as competitive, to be very honest. And it's an 83.7, doesn't improve, but very consistent from Ericus. So he wants to take this championship. He's in 8th position, so let's see what he can do in the battles as we move along to a man on a 76, not a huge score. He's in 38th position. It's Dean Davey, as Barry Forrest still survives in 32nd position. Dean Davey wants to qualify higher than this. We know that he absolutely has the ability in the Carrick karting S13 180SX. Of course, self-sponsored by his dad, Nicky, who run this business, which helps to fund not 1, not 2, but 3 cars in this championship simultaneously. We'll see his brother Jake as well later on, and we'll see Nicky in Pro Action tomorrow. So crazy stuff, running 3 cars out of the one family. So guys, if you're up,
absolutely, Mike, and you can see Dean Davey there, absolutely proud of that run. So he should be, because that's how the Davies do it. He did a beautiful run there, getting into all the zones. And will it be an improvement on his first score, which was 76.3? It is, Mike. It is an 86.7. That is how the Davies do it.
That is how the Davies do it, indeed. And that's a huge score there from the young Davy. And he is way up there with that one. I'll have to have a look here now, but it's Dean Davey is He's in 4th position with that one, so great score there.
We're moving on
Second
to our next
Yugoslav,
driver,
sorry.
Mike. It is Jake McElveen, another CDM
Oh.
sport driver. Unfortunately, he does shut it down there. I'm not too sure what just happened. There was a lot of smoke on his initiation, so I couldn't see exactly what happened throughout the live stream here. Looks like he's shutting it down, and it doesn't look like he's any power at the moment, Mike, so it could be electrical, or it could have shut down that engine just to be safe.
Yeah, of course there are fail-safes in these ECUs, that's for sure, but you know, that's usually, not always, but that's usually for the turbo cars is usually when that, obviously each engine can go through the same thing, but the turbo cars can tend to get a little bit more stressed and a little bit hotter, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened there for Jake, but you know what, he's on an 83.7. He is currently sitting in 12th position, and that is all she wrote for that qualifying lap. I'm just looking at the board here now. We've still got Dylan Wilson, Peter Malloy, Luke Talley, who's on a 0, who can knock out Barry Forrest, but I do think that Jason Gallagher and Eddie Power are safe because there's only one driver who is scoring under them at the moment.
I could just imagine Eddie down the pits jumping around after
you
say that, Mike.
Eddie Power is safe, Jason Gallagher is safe, Barry Forrest is not safe because Luke Talley, should he get out for his second qualifying run, is on a 0 and he can knock out Barry Forrest. However, there is only one driver left underneath them in scores. Yeah, Peter Malloy is higher than him with a 79. So yeah, basically Jason Gallagher, Eddie Power will qualify. Barry Forrest is still in danger from Luke Talley. Should Luke get out for his second qualifier, remember he shut down that GTR 86 on his qualifying run, and it's going to be interesting. I'm not sure what happened it, but he's got a good crew around him in the pits, and they're all good guys. There's a good crew of them there. It's a 2J as well, which helps. Lots of parts around the pits for 2Js, and hopefully it was nothing too serious and he can get back out, because you know what, I like seeing Luke Talley out there because literally each event I see him taking another step, and he's 3rd now on the championship, so hopefully he can continue his championship charge.
Absolutely, Mike, and while we have a bit of a moment there, I'm just going to go back to some bits I meant to say earlier on. So Declan Byrne didn't actually go out for his second qualifying run.
Didn't need to, buddy.
Didn't need to. He's still top of qualifying, sitting on a 93. Something definitely to be proud of. A very fluid driver who feels very comfortable in his car at the moment. Did have some issues in the last round, but he's making it work for himself this round. I'm not too sure, is he still having issues? Maybe because earlier on in the pits I was speaking to him, he had power steering issues. Maybe that's why he wasn't. Also, another note that I've just been given in Keane Leahy, if I'm correct in saying Keane, there was debris on the track actually throughout his second qualifying run, so the judges have come together and decided he will be getting a second chance to that, just in case that was an issue of why he missed zone 2 there.
We spotted that. That's interesting. We spotted it. It looked like there was something on track. I believe it was actually a marshal's flag had blown over and made its way out onto the track. I think Keane was a little bit wide anyway, but look, who knows, it might have put him off. He might have seen it out of, in his peripheral vision, even though, to be honest, that corner is very much blind until you get into it. But he gets a second bite at the cherry, luckily for him. And you know what? Let's see what he can do. But Dylan Wilson is on an 89.7. Can he break into the 90s in the beautiful E92 with the Eurofighter style kit on it?
Absolutely.
Look at the cage in that. Look at the cage in that car.
One of the more modern chassis of the BMWs out here today.
Yeah, see the big roll cage in the back of that car. Beautiful work there.
Looks unbelievable, so it does.
Yeah,
looks unbelievable too.
This is such a pro car. This is just a pro car, which happens to be in semi-pro or Pro2. So, it's only a matter of time, I think, that Dylan Wilson has to take the step up and put on the semi-slicks.
He's sitting on 89.7 at the moment. His score comes in, his second qualifying run, putting him into second place on the board so far. It's a 92 for Dylan Wilson. Definitely want to be proud of him, Mike. As you said, a pro-spec car and a pro-spec driver. Yeah, absolutely. So a round of applause went up there. And next up, it is Peter Malloy, one of our last cars for qualifying here. He's on a 79.7 as you hear him bopping his gen speed there, if he had a twin cam. Bopping the throttle there just to settle the nose of the car into the clip. Love hearing that throttle control from drivers. Now he's on full throttle. Look at that, doesn't need the turbo, doesn't need anything, stays on the outside line in the Beamer with sheer and utter technique and timing on the throttle. Brilliant driving here from Peter Malloy. Look at this BMW has no business doing this with the power that it has. You don't need all the horsepower, you don't need all the big bills, you just need
commitment and talent, and that's what Peter Malloy has displayed there. He's on a 79.7 on the first run, and for his second score, let's see if he improves. I think he does. He doesn't. It's a 75. It's a 75, so the judges there maybe penalising him for the first corner a little bit.
Absolutely, Mike. We're going to move on to our next driver. It's Luke Talley, the winner of round 2 up in County Down.
He's
back out
up
here
and down.
very strong for his second run. He did have issues in the first one shutting it down, but he's coming out here and he's not holding back. He wants to get his score on the board and up high.
And brakes there, you know, you see some drivers flicking it into the transition, then doing the braking. Luke Talley doing the safe thing, getting the braking done before he rotated the car. Imagine the nerves here. He's third in the Pro 2 championship, and he has one lap to get it done, and this track does bite you if you don't do everything absolutely right from the get-go. And you know what, guys, let's hear it for Luke Talley crossing the line, one and done. Big round of applause.
Mike, and a self-sponsored exemplar airport concierge. Is that the correct
concierge.
I'm very bad at pronouncing words today, so
they'll collect you from Dublin Airport and park your car and valet it or whatever when you're away, and you can come back from your holiday with your nice, clean, fresh car.
Unbelievable service. Man that supports drifting.
76.
A lot of the Irish drifters. 76 for him.
And we lose Barry Forrest. Jason Gallagher is hanging on, but he will be safe.
Either way, we're going to make our way on to one of the most talented young drivers, if not the youngest driver in the series, who is actually injured with a GA injury on his leg, but he's making it work for himself. Jake Davey sitting on 81.7, now in his second qualifying run, taking the wide line here. Shuts it down, Mike. I'm not too sure what just happened here for young Jake Davey.
Yeah, the youngest Davey, the junior driver in the S14, shutting it down. Not sure either what happened there, but he is safe for battle action, and unfortunately we won't see Jake Davey putting in his second one. And remember guys, he's in the junior class as well, so he's competing for 2 championships here, and he is in the junior class. He is where is he? He's on an 81, so yeah, he's still hanging around the top 5 in the junior class. Now, our last driver, but it's our second last driver because Cian Leahy will go. Guys, let's watch this one. It is the man of the moment, the man from Naas. It's young Denny Devine, all the way from County Kildare, flicking into 180SX, leading the Pro 2 Championship. Possible star of tomorrow here, being born right in front of us here at IDS round 3. Big angle through 3, big angle through 4, flicks it back, gets the braking done after the transition, which is what the judges want to see. Drops a wheel tiny bit as a result, has a slight correction into 5, nothing too major though, and back on throttle, gets it pretty much right on line through 6, 7, 8, picks up 9 on the wall, and full throttle across the line. Guys, let's hear it for championship leader Denny Devine.
What an outstanding run, Mike. Daniel Devine, definitely a name that we'll all get to know more and become a household name through Irish drifting. Such a young man, full of talent. Unfortunately, that run did cause a bit of an issue there when he came to zone 5, 6, that kind of area. He did drop a tyre and doesn't improve on his score, but he's still in battle action. Either way, we're going to move on to our next driver. It's Cian Leahy.
Yeah, well, you know what? In 32nd, maybe there could be a shake-up in the standings here. Cian Leahy, debris out on track right there where he just passed now at clipping zone 2. So the judges deeming that could have put him off, and not a fair lap for Cian Leahy on his second qualifier. So in the interest of fairness, given another lap, and you know what? He's doing a lot better. Oh, he was doing a lot better. Catches that terrible rut, runs wide, drops a bumper in the process. Doesn't seem to cause himself any damage through that rut there. And I don't know, is he going to improve? Is it going to be enough? He was going very well to that point, Adam.
Very, very strong for Cian Leahy, a man that was struggling with car issues, but got it all sorted for himself. Obviously, he did have debris on the track for his second run, but now when he came back out with the second chance of it again, just isn't enough to get into the battle stages today, Mike. It's a 47 for Cian Leahy.
And now we're going to have Richie Kelleher's Jeep doing a run, possibly. Right, so
I've seen this man outperform, Mike. He is insane. So he takes off from the line. It's Richie Kelleher.
Shuts it down. Looks like something happened. Unfortunately, something happened to Ranger there. Still number plates on this drift car as well.
He's just trying to screw in the hydro, I heard.
Oh, okay. So, right, guys, that is it for Pro 2 round 3 IDS qualifying. We have a couple of tied scores to fix, but I will call out your top 32 place qualifiers. Hang on a second. No, I'm just seeing here that we have a tied score. Barry Forrest we announced earlier in our screen here is actually in 33rd position, but I can see that he has a tight score. And indeed, Barry Forrest actually had a higher other score than Jason Gallagher, who had a 0 on his first run. So that means, my apologies, Barry Forrest actually qualifies. Jason Gallagher drops out of competition because Jason Gallagher's other score was the lower of the two. Barry Forrest had a 65, Jason Gallagher had a 0, and then both drivers scored a 74.3 in their higher scored run. So Barry Forrest qualifies, Jason Gallagher doesn't. Then we have next, actually just creeping into competition, way up in the championship, but just creeping in, it's Luke Talley next in 31st. Eddie Power, your commentator for tomorrow, creeps in 30th position. Bartik Blazjecki is in 29th. Marcus Heinen then, also with championship aspirations next. Mattis Karaitis, Molly Carr, Colin O'Sullivan, Peter Malloy, Owen McGee, Nathan Walsh and Andrew Kinna make up 30th to 20th. Then it's Jake Davies, Stefan Mooney, Kieran Lynch, Clark Hatton, Justin Murphy, Stuart Gordon, Francis Hines, Nathan Corcoran, Jake McElveen, Matt Darren make up 20th to 11th. And your top 10 are Andrew Malloy, Alan Connaughty, Danny Devine, championship leader, Ericus Navitskaz, Jamie Hines, Connor Duggan, Dean Davey, and in third position it's Alex Butler. Second position it's Dylan Wilson, and first position, topping qualifying with 1 lap, it is the one and only Declan Byrne. So that, guys, that is your top 32 here at IDS Round 3 Pro 2 in Watergrasshill. And if you're in the junior class and your name is in no particular order, Jamie Hines or Jake McElveen or Alex Butler, be sure to be here later on. And also if you are Mattis Karaitis, Francie Hines or Nathan Walsh, be sure to be here later on as well. So that is the rookie class. So we will get into Pro 2 battle action here, guys, in about, let me just check here. Okay, so it's 15 minutes. So we were just double checking there. I thought it was going to be at least half an hour, so it's going to be 15 minutes, guys. We are back straight into battle action here for round 3 of IDS Pro 2 here in Watergrasshill. So that was your top 32. If your name was in that list, get your car ready, get your tyres ready, fuel her up, and we'll be back for battle action, Adam, in 15
minutes. Thanks. We'll see you again.